Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, and don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killin', 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reelin', 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s, by the name El Sabot, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all with 2, and prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to a landmark episode of Straight Chilling. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 200, recorded on Monday, January 28th, 2019. Tonight, we're actually not going to be reviewing a movie. We're going to have a bit of a retrospective episode. We're going to be taking a look back at the last 200 shows we have done. We're going to be playing some games. We're going to be looking at some stats. We're going to have a Q&A. We're going to be talking Cooters. We got some various other surprises in store for you. Before we get into the show, let me introduce everyone else at the table this evening. First up, calling in from Santa Barbara, California, my boy Randy Gandy G Landy.
I hope you guys are ready for an episode filled with more self-indulgence than a Ghirardelli factory. We are going off the rails by filleting ourselves for nigh on 3 hours, I gotta think. So, here we go. All things on, motherfucker.
Last but not
Becky's
least.
at the door. I gotta go. I'm being interrupted.
Let that woman in.
Bye. End of episode.
Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, my boy Soju.
It's your boy! Soju locked and loaded, baby. Here we go.
Soju proper. Soju legit with the green bottle.
Yep, it's your boy, the classic green. Tune into YouTube for some exclusive footage of the soju.
Of Justin drinking soju. What's the flavor?
We got the grapefruit. There you go. You can see it right on there. See that?
Oh, that's Korean's really easy to understand.
Yes, I know, especially with all those images.
It's very universal. Interesting.
Dark universe right there.
Yeah. Gentlemen, did you ever anticipate that we would, when we started the show, we would be 200 shows deep?
I thought I'd be dead by now.
1,000 years.
I assumed.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy little tidbit for you. We did 100 episodes not too long before I left for Korea. Yeah. So I've almost done an equal amount of Straight Chillin' episodes in Korea as I did before I left for Korea.
That's true.
Man, they're very efficient over there.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a very efficient country. It makes sense.
Damn. Half in the States, half in Korea.
I know. And I think the last kind of official Screamin' and Creamin' was episode 100. We did that ice cream cake. We've had a couple fill-ins in between there, but it's been 100 episodes since a legit Screamin' and Creamin'. So if you don't know what Screamin' and Creamin' is,
you're not alone.
You're just a noob. You're not hardcore enough for the Straight Chillin' crew.
You're not hardcore enough for our ice cream review.
This Klondike is dope, motherfucker. It's got Reese's in it.
Oh, shit. Fresh picked.
Dude, throwback.
Covered in morning dew.
They're so fresh.
Nice. Let's go ahead and take care of some housekeeping real quick. So the winner of the February poll pick is Audition.
Woo!
Yeah!
We're going to be really excited.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in a few years. I'm excited. It was my pick, which I'm excited about.
However, how could nobody vote for Ghost? Come on.
I think I think you sabotaged yourself, man. That's surreal.
I think Audition.
It's a real Jill Stein of an entry.
Too strong of a pick. Audition's just too good.
Whoopi Goldberg is freaking terrifying, though, so I don't know why it got a goose egg. It should have got at least one vote.
I thought it would have been hilarious.
It would have been.
Look, that's an issue. Like, that's a movie you have to force on the world. It's not going to come easy.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to Patreon us into watching go.
Nobody's going to do that.
You might have to Patreon us. You are the only driver in this crusade.
Come on, that would have been hilarious. You know it.
All right.
Nobody's going to do that at all.
Audition. We're doing it.
We are.
Good. I am excited about that, though.
So that means that at this current point in time, or shortly thereafter, the March poll pick will be posted on our Patreon website. We landed on something that I am excited about, actually. So the theme for March is going to be movies that Randy would hate. So we all picked a movie that we think Randy will hate, and the three that we landed on are Dracula 2000, House of Wax, not the Vincent Price House of Wax. We're talking the Paris Hilton House of Wax, and
the good one.
Yeah, the good one, and Queen of the Damned.
Strap in, Randy.
Yeah.
Dracula 2000 is the only one among them that I have actually seen, so I am certainly the opposite of excited. Whatever the opposite of excited is, that's where I'm at. I've seen Dracula 2000, and boy, I could fill this whole 3 hours complaining about that motherfucker.
Nice. So if you support us on our Patreon website at the $5 level or above, you can vote between those three movies, and the winner will be a movie that we discuss sometime in March. What else we got? YouTube channel still going strong. We're just a few subscribers away from 100. Once we hit 100, we'll get that custom URL, which is something we've been fishing for. And Twitch, you want to talk about Twitch a little bit, Juice?
Yeah, Twitch. If you are into gaming, you can watch a live stream of us playing some horror games at twitch.tv/Straight Chilling Podcast. We have finished the game for January. There'll be a new game for February, and you can tune in live. You can chat live, or if you can't make the live stream, we always upload to YouTube as well. So you can check out those games and the reviews for those games on YouTube or Twitch.
Sweet. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the show here. We have
the meat.
Let's get to the meat of this taco. We have various different kind of segments that we're going to do that I don't really think we've done any of them before, actually. So the first thing that we wanted to tackle on episode 200, we get a lot of questions about what a cooter is, which makes perfect sense.
A ton of questions.
Yeah, like a lot. A whole lot.
Most people are tired of us inventing shit.
Yeah.
They just want to know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah. What are these lunatics raving about? What the fuck is a cooter? So we decided to take a moment and present the Cooter Profile, the definitive Cooter Profile, so that should anyone have a question, we can point back to this episode as sort of a touchstone that will be very clear in describing exactly what a cooter is. So I'm going to.
It's a living document, people.
It is.
Expect adjustments as the science comes.
So yeah, Justin, you're the Cooter King. You're the Cooter Master, Master of Ceremonies. I'm going to hand it over to you, and
the Van Helsing of Cooterdom.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, let's kick it off. So it has been just about a year now since we officially started tracking the Cooter, since we were building the profile. So in that time, we have made the graph. We have tracked them every episode that we do. So let's go ahead and talk about them. First and foremost, a Cooter is a type of person. It's like a character. Very prevalent in horror movies, not exclusive, but that's not our realm. So we're talking horror movies here. Very prevalent in 80s movies, some 70s movies as well, but they're still carrying on into modern day. And we could go ahead. We'll talk about what makes the Cooter the Cooter. We'll talk about the graph, how we track them, how we determine them. And then we'll talk about some of our favorite Cooters from earlier this year. So you can kind of get, an idea of maybe what a Cooter looks like. So
I need another drink.
All right, boys, the 4 points that we're landing on, that I think we have rooted ourselves in, is Manipulation. A cooter is usually manipulative, or they can be highly manipulative, trying to, stir up some bullshit. Sexual deviancy, I think, is a big one for the cooter. Like, the cooter always seems like some kind of creeper, usually.
Yeah.
Some kind of weirdo creeper. So
if you're a sexual deviant, there's at least a 50% chance you're going to land on the cooter spectrum.
Yeah, that's weighted. That's probably it's probably heavily weighted to the sexual deviancy, and I feel like another heavy weighted one is the smug arrogance.
Yeah,
smug arrogance. So like on the two, like the left side, I've got smug arrogance because that's like a heavy one. Right side is sexual deviancy, and then the two like variable ones is the manipulation, and then attire too, because sometimes the attire really kind of pulls the cooter together, and you know it when you see it. You're like, attire. What do they have to wear, like a hat or something? It's like there's like the outfits that it's a cooter.
You know it. You know it when you see it.
You feel it in your gut.
Yeah, and you'll hear us mention too, like this, like ghost point too, and that's like an overall kind of shittiness, but it can't make the official chart because like it weighs it out too much. Like I don't think I've ever seen a cooter that's not shitty, so it's kind of like
given
part of the territory. It's just like how shitty are they?
We're talking like how deserving of repercussions are they? Is really that what that points to. Sometimes they're just like, I'm a little smug, arrogant, but you don't. In a horror movie, comes in the form of a fucking knife in your throat or whatever.
Yeah,
sure.
Sometimes a character can be a little smug without being a cooter. So they don't necessarily deserve the knife, but damned if most of them don't.
Absolutely. And that's a good point, Randy. One of the big things about a cooter that's like really intriguing to me that we've brought up, especially like in the 80s movies where they were like very prevalent, is a lot of the times, like just because they're like the cooter of a movie doesn't necessarily mean they're the villain of the movie.
No, not at all.
I feel like more
often than not in the 80s.
Yeah, more in the 80s. More in modern times, they're kind of starting to fuse them together, kind of like a Mandy. But back in the day, the like intriguing thing about the cooter to me was they were people that you wanted to die. So they're like the one kind of moment where you're like behind the killer's eyes, or you're like sympathizing almost with the killer. You're like, you want that person to die. Everybody else, you're kind of like following along with like the scream queens, or like everybody, like, oh, survive and run this way, and that's where the tension comes from. But like the murderous bloodlust that you can feel is towards ending the cooter's life. Like they're so usually like deserving of a death that you want the killer to get them.
To put it in a real world example, a real life cooter might be somebody like Martin Shkreli, the pharma douche. That's a person who, no matter what bad thing happens to him, you always smile bigger. So that's what we're talking. It's Schadenfreude at its worst. It's a kind of person that's so shitty that they make you a shitty person towards them. Yeah. So there you go.
And some examples of cooters that are not villains of the story are the orderly in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Do you guys remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the orderly.
He was giving drugs to the addict.
Yeah, and like calling her up and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's being a real piece of shit. Yeah.
Good
a bunch in Friday the 13th. What was it? Part 6 that we recently covered?
That was part 4.
Was it 6?
The final chapter.
Final chapter.
Yeah. So that dude, what's that guy at the beginning, Rob? What's that guy? He made the cooter of the week.
I can't remember his name, but
Axel? Is it Axel?
Axel, yeah.
We have all the data, but we refuse to reference it.
He worked in the hospital.
Axel from Friday the 13th, Part 4. And there were some other ones in there, too. So there's some good cooters in there.
You got your you got plenty
from
of
Night of the
cooters.
Creeps, brah.
Yeah, Bradster from Night of the Creeps. He's on the list. Daniel from Annihilation, the shitty like side piece from Annihilation. And
what's his dick from Invitation?
Who's
a perma until he gets to Hill House.
But he is actually the antagonist, though. I'm trying to highlight the ones that aren't necessarily the villain. Yeah. And then the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a type of villain, but he's not the villain. So
just to give you an idea of what a cooter might look like, you can reference some of those movies and really pin it down. Take a look at the charts. Also, just to mention some modern ones, kind of how it's developed. Some ones we've covered. This Jeremiah Sand.
Jeremiah.
He is like the ultimate cooter, but he's also like the main villain of the story, which is kind of where modern cooters have kind of developed to. This Lola and her dad from The Loved Ones.
Yeah.
So these are some examples of cooters. You can really see like what is the cooter. So when we say cooter of the week, when we're talking about it, this is our reference point. You can come to episode 200. You can get a full, rundown. We've been tracking them for a year now. We've got it locked in. We've got the profile filled out. We know how to spot them. We want you to know how to spot them. So please,
The more you know.
Yes, the more you know. Rainbow sound or whatever that goes across.
Rainbow sound. The famous rainbow sound.
Yeah, so that is the Cooter Pro. And we're going to talk a little bit more about cooters later in the show, some of our faves and cooters of the year and whatnot. But this is the reference point. That is the Cooter Profile that we've been building for the past year now. Thank you for all your help, Cooter hunters of the world. Thank you.
The first time I heard the word cooter, and like kind of the reason I started saying it, for me personally anyways, I was watching that thing you do, like Tom Hanks's character is discussing with the band some like music producer, and he's talking about how he's kind of a pain in the ass to work with, and then mid-sentence he stops and just goes, well, he's the biggest cooter I ever saw. And I was like, the first time I ever heard somebody use that word.
It comes down from on high, on the tablets brought forth by Tom Hanks, our Lord and Savior, comes the word cooter.
And
that is a movie that we have all enjoyed together many times.
Yeah, I bought the soundtrack on tape when I was like 8.
I've only ever quit my jobs by singing it because of that movie.
I quit.
I love that movie. Nice. Thanks, Justin. Thank you for clarifying, and I'm sure future listeners are going to be very stoked that you did so. So something that we're going to be doing throughout this episode, we have like various sound bites that were sent in from friends of the show, and we're going to be dispersing those throughout the episode as we go. So we're going to play the first one for you here. It's just a few minutes long. This is going to be coming from our buddy Shane Bassett from Australia. He's been a guest on a few of our shows, and he's somebody that we've known for a little while. And if it weren't for Straight Chilling podcast, we never would have met this guy. It just wouldn't have happened. I mean, he lives worlds away, and it's through the magic of the interwebs we met. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you here now, and we'll hear from Shane. Here you go.
G'day everybody, my name is Shane A. Bassett, film critic, movie analyst from the Southern Hemisphere, down under Sydney, Australia. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the Straight Chilling crew crossed paths with myself, other than the podcast really appealed to me. They stood out from a congested, sometimes inept, downright boring and uninformative series of horror podcasts that are out there. Straight Chilling was just good value and fun listen, and I enjoyed them from the beginning. Then I got stickers. Yes, I got stickers, and I collect stickers. So the fact Bob sent me a bunch of stickers from America to Australia made me an instant fan and a lock on being friends. So then the icing on the cake was definitely making my debut on episode 150, Bordello of Blood. Now, that turned out to be a pretty funny episode, Bordello of Blood, and it was a great introduction to the boys. It was also memorable because Randy watched the wrong movie. Yes, he checked out Billy Zane in Demon Knight, and the funny thing is both, in fact, are Tales from the Crypt movies, but Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood are definitely worlds apart when it comes to entertainment and quality-wise. I guess you could say they're both not fantastic, but they are different. And maybe I think that Randy could have probably just wanted a bit of Billy Zane rather than a bit of Corey Feldman, who knows? But it was a lot of fun, and I get comments on that particular episode all the time. People DM it, like contacting me with DMs or whatever. Now, it took me a while to accept and figure out what a cooter was as well, but it all made sense eventually when Justin explained it. And actually, it was all the same thing that I already knew. It was simply a bogan, and bogans are a feral force down under. They are everywhere, and a bogan is a cooter. So the world is full of them, and I'm sure that there's other things that get lost in Australian translation in other episodes that I've done, which have been fun. I did the 154, House of the Devil. That was a movie I've not seen before, so it was cool to be introduced to that film I hadn't known about even, and liking it so much. Then the next one was The Loved Ones, which was an Australian movie. That was episode 171. Loved Ones is, in fact, turned into a little bit of a cult, popular favourite down under. However, I don't believe that we really make good horror movies from Australia. Sure, we've got some really good individual ones, but overall, in the scheme of things, horror movies aren't always our forte. And The Loved Ones, although it's not perfect, it has Jessica McNamee in it, who's a friend, and overall it stands the test of time and I enjoyed talking about it from my angle with the boys. And the last episode I was on, hopefully I'm on more, please invite me back on, was 184, and that was a double feature, basically, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. So an epic episode. 184 was talking those two movies, both which I'd seen but not for a long time, so revisiting those and talking to them with some real, true, genuine horror aficionados was just mind-blowing. So I really enjoyed that particular episode. But I've enjoyed them all, and as I said, please invite me back on. I'm a bit of an authority on films, being a journalist, writing about films, getting paid to watch movies. So my obsession I can take a little bit too seriously. But when I'm talking to the boys, these guys at Straight Chilling, they just bring out the fun side of me, which is kind of good because it is different for me, anyone that does know me. So endorsing Straight Chilling is something I'm always happy to do. The podcast is great, I'm not lying. And anyone out there who loves horror or bizarre stuff or dedication to being informative as well as amusing, that's what this podcast is really all about. It's a serious contender in being something that will be around for a long time yet. It already has been. That's why I'm here talking. And they're top blokes. So I hope that you enjoy their show. Go back to some old episodes if you haven't heard them before and continue listening, because Straight Chillin', they're a good bunch to get to know. If you're interested in anything else that I do, please find me on Twitter or Instagram at @movieanalyst, @movie_analyst. That's @movie_analyst, where I put all my red carpet interviews, anything else movie related, people I meet, talk about lists and other movie related stuff. It's all there. Come find me. And that's it from me. Bye for now. Hope you enjoy the rest of this brilliant Straight Chillin' podcast legacy.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for the kind words, man. We really do. We really do appreciate that.
That was great. I have to say,
yeah.
The funniest thing in the world to me is how it went from these guys know their stuff. They're all these other podcasts, they're full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. And they talk about me watching the wrong fucking movie. Fucking mess.
Really on point.
We're really on our game always. Trust it.
Yeah.
Shane's not lying. He made a point to say directly that he's not lying. So
I will say that Bordello Blood episode is a funny ass episode.
That was a really, really good time. I remember that specifically. It sticks out of my mind.
I've still never seen the fucking.
That's so yeah. If you want just a classic, great Straight Chillin' episode, Bordello Blood.
Who doesn't want to fuck Billy Zane?
Randy just wanted a bit of Billy Zane. I love that.
I just want to take Billy Zane and fuck his mouth, you know? That's it. It's pretty obvious. You think about it.
That's what really happened.
And hey, look, the Bogan, you know, the international Cooter. Yeah. Now we gotta start tracking them by country and, you know, get the full profile of like all the terms, you know.
We need to start sharing information with other
horror podcasts.
Yeah, other horror podcasts, police forces
worldwide.
We should like specifically find out the difference in attire, because I'm sure like a Cooter in America would wear something different than a Cooter in Australia would. I wonder what that difference would be.
Like the chavs in Britain.
Yeah. I'd like to. Yeah, we could have like side-by-side comparisons and post them on the website. I like that.
There we go. All right.
Law and Order Cooter unit on the pro.
We're on. This is our new mission. We built the profile, and now we have to put it to good use.
Yeah, just have like a quick pocket reference guide. You can pull it out and see if they're wearing a stupid jacket. Be like, yeah, it's right here. It's right here in the Cooter Manifesto. Yeah, that's one. But yeah, thanks again, Shane. We really do appreciate it. We always enjoy having you on the show, and it's sort of like, you know, the words were very kind, and coming from someone who's like a legitimate, he like actually reviews movies and talks to like film directors and actors and actresses. Like he actually does that for a job. So, you know, we don't take his words lightly. We really do appreciate it, man. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda, we're gonna play a game, I guess. So this is Randy's baby. Right now, we're calling it. We're referring to it as Straight Stats.
Straight stats.
So
take it, Randy. It's all yours.
No problem. So in our ever-growing quest to stop being so fucking full of shit, I started actually keeping track of our scores at one point during our run, and created a nice long spreadsheet with every episode, every score, who scored it, averages, all sorts of shit. So these are questions that I have culled from that list, and sort of points of interest. So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. We're going to do the sort of a quiz sort of thing, which is going to be a running theme tonight. But these are just sort of like little guessing games for you guys. So I'm going to run through about 7 questions here. You guys ready to roll?
Yeah,
ready, Randy.
All right. So for our first question is, who is the most generous scorer on average between the three of us? That's Juice, Rob, and Randy. So between the three of us, who do you think has the highest average score for all of the movies that we've reviewed?
I think I probably do.
Interesting.
You think so?
I think so.
What makes you say that? Any particular reason?
I don't know. I feel like I'm usually like kind of generous after the discussion, and then sometimes I like go back and think like, maybe that was too high. I don't. So maybe it's just my personal like inner dialogue. Like, what's a no? I'm just like, I feel like I like feel that way often. So maybe that's just in my mind, where I'm like, maybe that was a little too high on that movie.
That's all right, Bob. What about you? What do you think?
I was gonna say I think I am.
Oh, yeah. So maybe it's just our own. Yeah,
it could be.
I guess it just depends too. Me and Rob have like over the years have really shifted though too. Me and Rob have deterred like in our preferences and stuff. So usually me and Rob are kind of like on the opposite ends these days. So maybe it's just like when
I've
it's a
drawn
movie
you into
like,
the dark side. I've molded you by it. You know, the answer to this question is you're both fucking wrong. I am the most generous.
It's Randy.
Of all of us.
That is highly surprising.
We're just conceited assholes.
I'm so giving.
I guess, I mean, the phrasing isn't meant to be flattering. It's actually, to me, sort of a mark of shame for the reason that you mentioned, because I think that I'm being a little too forgiving of movies. But then again, here's the numbers. Here's by the numbers, so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. I have the most generous average score with 3.27 out of 5, which is right near average. 3 being average, or 2.5 really, because we kind of go by half. We go through the decimals and all that. But I'm in being generous to us. I would say 3 is where we should be for a mediocre film. Sure. Juice 3.22. So you're only 0.05 beneath me on this score, and then Rob, you're 3.13, so you have the highest disparity, but it's all pretty much the same realm, and we're actually all not significantly, but considerably, there's a consideration towards being above whatever our mid mark is, which if we're counting it as 3, which is already generous, we're all going above that. So either we are just very down for whatever, and we're very forgiving for shit, which is very possible, certainly for me. And I know for Rob and Juice, you've had your moments as well. But I think really it's a matter of us talking about subject matter we like, which is fucking horror movies.
Yeah.
So of course we're going to skew positive because we fucking feel positively about this subject we want to talk about every week. So I hope that's what it is.
At least we're not averaging like a 4 or 5, you know. It's we have some discretion.
You know what I think is really interesting, or what will be interesting maybe for the next 100 episode, or like in the next 100 episode, like goddamn. Okay. Whatever is, now we don't do the picks anymore ourselves. So before we were like doing a rotation, like, oh, I pick a movie. So of course it's going to be a movie like I want to watch, and then Rob, and then Randy. But we don't do that anymore. So I'm curious to see it.
We don't have as much influence. That's true.
Yeah, how the numbers will shift away from like if we think it's positive, if we think it's negative. Now we're doing Patreon picks. We're doing like movies. We're doing the poll picks. So I'm curious to see if that'll shift in the next 100 episodes.
We'll find out. Our number 2 question is sort of in a similar vein. Who of our former and current castmates, so this is everybody who's ever been a castmate on the show, has the highest received the highest average score on their personal picks, and who received the lowest? So this is sort of 2 answers here. Who do you think received the highest average rating on all of their picks, and who received the lowest? So just for reference, for everybody who's listening, there's the 3 of us: Rob, Juice, myself, Randy. There's Cesar, there's Drew, there's Ross, there's Jack. Am I leaving anybody out?
Brad.
And yeah, so out of that crew, who do we think?
I think the lowest is Ross.
I would agree with Ross being the lowest.
I think Rick Ross is the lowest. He used to just pick some wild ass movies.
Yeah.
And specific, the reason I think that sticks in my mind is I think our lowest rated episode or
Ghost
close was Ghost of Mars, and I know Ross picked that, so that's sticking out in my mind.
Well, he did pick, that's for sure.
Yeah, Rick Ross. So
what about highest?
I'm kind of leaning towards Drew, because Drew wasn't on for too long, but I remember him picking some pretty solid movies.
He also picked some dog shit movies. Yeah,
he picked some. He picked like The Visitor. Which if you smoke weed and watch The Visitor. Holy shit. But I remember him picking some really solid stuff too, like Pet Sematary, and I think he might have chosen The Thing at some point.
No, you picked that, Rob.
Did he pick The Fly? I don't know. I just remember him picking some good stuff.
I think Randy picked that. I think it's between maybe me or Bob on the highest.
Yeah.
Except we've picked more, so that might bring the average down.
Yeah.
I just know, like, at one point I was picking like Trick or Treat. Everybody gave that like a 5. Like, we were trying to pick movies we liked, so it's hard.
So go ahead.
I'll say Bob though. I'll say Bob.
Say Bob. Okay. Well, you guys are wrong on everything. So let's go through this.
Damn.
Starting with the well, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of people to pick from, so it's understandable. Yeah. But we've got for the highest on average. You guys are going to be pretty red-faced here because it is Ross.
Wow.
Ross received the highest average, 3.28 out of 5 on 17 different picks that he had. So those movies included, so you can get an idea of the breadth here. He had Cabin in the Woods. He had Event Horizon. He had Deep Blue Sea. He had The Mist. He had Ghosts of Mars. And that's, like I said, only 5 of 17, rather.
That's some pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. And like you guys kind of made the same mistake I did. When Ross dropped out, it was a little bit after we sort of like consolidated a little bit, everything kind of like reformed and we rebooted. Ross was on our team with us at that point.
Yeah.
So he was still picking and still getting a lot of picks in there. And he's got fucking 17 movies of varying quality, certainly. Ghosts of Mars, looking at your...
Okay, yeah, that just sticks out in my mind, I guess.
Yeah, I think that influenced my pick as well. Just I remember that specifically, Drew giving that a 0, and that like never happened before. Yeah.
And now here's the kicker. The lowest. It's poetic almost. Ross's twin brother, the Godfather himself, Jack.
Okay.
Score, which was the 2.78 average on 8 films, which is still pretty medium. This is still a game of inches, so it's not a huge disparity. But his picks included, and I picked some good, some bad. Or no, most of these are good. Most includes Scanners, which we all pretty much liked. Poltergeist, we liked. The Ring, Extraterrestrial, which was a clunker. For me anyway.
Yeah.
Godzilla. Yeah. So Godzilla, and that was Godzilla 2015, or the newest one. So yeah, you got a few in there that are good, a few that are bad, but it just so happens by the numbers, it's Jack. So these twins are like on the opposite side of the spectrum. But again, it's a game of inches. So when you said, Juice, that it was between you and Bob, you weren't too far off, because Ross received 3.28 average, and you received 3.21, putting you in the second spot.
Okay.
And let's see, Bob, you were in the third spot with 3.05. I actually am now remembering I should have said this earlier. I was not including Brad because his picks, he only had like 5 picks. So
I
didn't
got to hit like the 10 mark or something.
I didn't think it was fair to him to like hold him to such a small sample. So so there we go. And we're on to number 3. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
In the first 100 episodes, we had 2 episodes which were granted a 5 out of 5 score. And those movies were Trick or Treat and Stranger Things Season 1. That's episode 46 and 72, respectively. Okay. Since then, we have had 2 more 5 of 5 scores. And I just want you guys to name them. If you can name even one of them, that'd be great.
The Shining.
Damn.
I think The Shining is one.
Oh, fuck yeah, we just did that one. Yeah. All right, The Shining.
That was one of my poll picks.
The next one's a little harder.
Yeah, another 5.
Is it a show? Is that why it's hard?
I'll give you a hint. It's not a show.
Okay.
Not a show.
Fuck.
By the way, The Shining is episode 192 for the interested.
Yeah.
Did we cover Halloween in the second 100 episode? Like in the second half?
No, I think that was earlier.
I don't know if we did, but that's not
and that wasn't a 5, I remember. Son of a
Scream?
You might tap out. Just let me know. Not Scream.
Not Scream.
I'll tell you. I mean, if you get this answer right, you're a pretty clever girl. I gotta say.
Jurassic
Park. Oh my god.
Jurassic Park, which
both was that we covered like in the past 6 months, right?
Episode 180, as picked by our patron and friend Brett. So, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park being one of our more contentious episodes because pretty much the entire episode was centered around the question of whether or not it's horror. Mm-hmm. And many people disagree with the conclusion that it's horror-ish at least. But whatever. And we all like the fucking movie for the most part. Probably too generous to give it a 5 where the Thing sits on the outskirts of that fucking rating.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
You ruined
all
it.
of our faults. We all gave it a 5, so it's on all of us. But
no, I'm talking about the Thing. The fact that the Thing didn't have a 5-star.
Oh well, flagellate yourself later. But
yeah.
All right, here we go. And then we're going into number 4 here. This one's a quick one. What do you think is the average rating that we gave as a group overall? That includes every rating given on the show.
Wait, what? Say the question again.
The average rating that we have given to any movie, all movies overall throughout the film, throughout the show, and includes every reviewer, including guests.
Okay, everything all together.
3.
Yeah, it's got to be in the 3. I'll say 3 even.
3 even. Rob's going to take it on that one. It is 3.15 out of 5. So we are just off center on like as a group.
Yeah.
So yeah, our professionalism is really showing. There we go. We're real impartial.
Right. Real neutral there.
Real neutral. So number 5, here we go. Who has given the most scores of a 0.5 out of the 3 of us? Who out of the 3 of us has given a 0.5 the most?
I'd say Randy.
Think so. Okay.
I think maybe me.
Bob's gonna take it on this one. Bob.
Damn, Bob killing it.
Rob, you gave 7.5 scores throughout the course of our show. And those films were as follows: Serbian film, Ghosts of Mars, Jigsaw, Halloween.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like 2.5, 3.5, like integrals of 0.5. I gotcha. Oh, okay. My bad.
Okay. Well, whatever. You got it wrong. Halloween 07, Puppet Master 89, Creep, and The Banshee Chapter, a film I have still not seen.
I remember
Creep,
that.
by the way.
You want to know? So, Rob, you got 7. Who wants Juice? And Rob, you want to guess who came in second out of the three of us?
Okay, so 0.5. Randy.
Yeah, I think I'll just go with Juice to be different.
All right, Juice it is. It is 5.5 scores for Juice.
God
Those films being
Make
a
me look like a chump over here, Bob.
a Serbian film, The Mummy 17, Visitor, The Love Witch, and Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And finally comes in me, Paltrow 2.
Wow.
2.5s, which are very well deserved in my opinion. Serbian film and The Mummy 17. So yeah, I think
that's fair. That's all fair.
I don't know how I didn't give The Mummy
Silent
a
Night,
0.5. And
Say again,
you are. I was saying I don't know how I didn't give The Mummy 2017 a 0.5. I guess I gave it a 1.
I don't know. I can look it up, but I don't know why you would give it more than a 0.5 either.
That's shocking.
So in that same vein, question 6, who has given the most scores of a 5-star between the three of us? 5 perfect score.
I think.
I don't think it's me. I
think it might be me as well.
I think I'm gonna go Randy.
You're gonna go me, Rob. You're gonna go with yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
As always, Rob.
Fuck Rob.
Juice. No. Juice. You got it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
fuck Rob.
Yeah.
Let me change my tonoscope.
And this is where our skew really becomes very obvious, especially for me. I gave 19 5-star scores.
Wow.
Rob, you gave 15. And Juice, you have given 11. So we're all in the double digits for 0.5 scores. There are some movies that we were either grossly unfair to and in a positive way, or that we love enough of these fucking movies.
Out of 200
out of
shows.
200? Yeah, 11. I only give 11. That's pretty. I mean, that's like what, 5%?
You get to compare favorably, so fuck you. So for a sample of my own 5-star films, The Shining, Hill House, Haunting on Hill House, Ghost Watch, The Witch. Rob, you gave 5 stars to Stranger Things Season 1, Return of the Living Dead, It Follows, and Sleepaway Camp. And a lot of these we all gave 5s to, or several of us did. And then Juice, you gave 5s to The Burbs, to The Conjuring, to Housebound, and Jurassic Park. Sure. So we got that. And finally, our last question for spreadsheets. I know you guys are sick of fucking numbers, and who wouldn't blame you?
It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Well done, Randy.
Only us, but
thank you very much. Nobody else gives a shit. But 7, what has been the movie that has featured, this is kind of difficult to explain maybe, but features the widest score gap between different posts? So which film has the widest disparity in between, like, say, Juice's score and my score?
Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Oh,
Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
That's a good one.
Because I know, like, I gave it 0.5 and Old Bish gave it 5, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he did. Shit, yeah. So that has to be it. Oh,
well, no, there's a couple other movies, like maybe Sleepaway Camp.
That's what I was thinking, because I know I gave it a 5, and I don't remember what you gave it, but I'm sure it was very
probably
low.
I think like a 0.5. So it's like in the same vein. Yeah. So I'll go Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
You are correct. And it is exactly what you described. It is the widest disparity possible of 4.5 points disparity between yourself and Cesar. So, but, that's not really the one that I'm interested in. That's one that was pretty obvious to anybody, or to all of us who have experienced the show, living it. But what do you think the number 2 might? Let's go with number 2.
I mean, Sleepaway Camp was the only other one that popped in my mind that was like, because I feel like I had the same kind of reaction where Bob like loved it. And I was like this, or also Creep. Like we were like fine on Creep, but well, I don't think we rated it as high as a 5 though. So I just remember Bob like Sleepaway Camp 5, and I was like, nope, nah. So that's the only other one that was so polarizing. I know Rob hated Creep.
Yeah,
but I don't think anybody just like loved it though.
Maybe Halloween, the original Halloween.
No, nobody would have rated it that low. What about Evil Dead 2? Maybe that's a throwback though. That's so old. Like we did that. I don't know. Sleepaway Camp.
Bob, Sleepaway Camp with you?
Yeah.
You guys are wrong. It's not even on my board here. We got. For number 2 spot is The Burbs, a 3.5 point difference between Rob, you, and Juice. Rob, you, and Juice, and Cesar.
Oh, okay.
You and Juice gave it a 5. Cesar gave it a 1.5.
Wow.
So it's a difference of 3.5. That is.
Sometimes I don't understand Cesar's rating, like how he gets to his numbers. I don't get it.
As somebody who doesn't understand my own rating system most of the time, I gotta say it's true. And just for reference, here's a couple of runner-ups for you. And I don't know if this is all of them, but these are tied for 3-point difference. We have Friday the 13th, Part 6, with a 3-point difference between Rob, you, and Ross of 3 points. That's Rob, you gave it a 4, Ross a 1. And then the WNUF Halloween Special, a 3-point difference between Rob, you, a 4.5, and Juice, you, a 1.5 So
that deserves better than a 1.5.
No, it doesn't, dude.
Man.
It's so cheap.
They're making a sequel. Yeah, it's cheap. Whatever.
They're making a sequel. Why? Oh my god.
So there you go. There's spreadsheet questions, straight stat chillings, and
like
chilling with stats.
Straight stats.
200 years worth of numbers. 200 years.
200.
Been doing this for a long fucking time.
200 years.
You are immortal.
Scores.
Ooh, straight stats. All right.
God damn.
Sorry, I got excited. So let's hear from another friend of the show. This little clip here is going to be coming from our friend in Orlando, Anthony from Ghoulish Cast. And Something Ghoulish on YouTube. It's going to be a few minutes long. So let's go ahead and see what Anthony has to say. Here we go.
Hey, this is Anthony from Something Ghoulish, and I wanted to leave a message about my favorite memory of straight chilling. I usually have a lot of time on my hands to listen to podcasts when I'm driving. And, of course, browsing podcasts, I was looking for something to fix my horror addict taste buds, and I came across Straight Chilling Podcast and downloaded a couple episodes, listened, and, I was hooked right away. Part of the enjoyment of the podcast was the absurdist humor, the roundtable-like discussion, and just kind of the genuine nature of it all. You could tell that a lot of the guys love the genre, and these people seem like guys you could share a beer with. So they announced that they were doing one of their first live shows in Jacksonville on Return of the Living Dead, which was one of my all-time favorite films and still is. And so I was hooked right away. And Jacksonville is a city in kind of northern Florida, and I'm based out of Orlando, which is like 2 hours south. So I was willing to make the drive, and I did. So I dragged my friend with me, Chris from GargantuCast. We drove up there, listened to the Jurassic Park episode, which he hadn't heard yet, and it was super fucking hilarious. I always love hearing the banter between everyone. And pulled up there probably about 30 minutes prior. I had never been to a Sunray Cinema before, so I was super excited. One of the things apparently they were known for is their really good popcorn. So we got there, and it was a kind of a cool-looking independent theater. They had this gorgeous mural of a Creature of the Black Lagoon, all these like horror-themed pinball machines. The one I specifically remember was Bram Stoker's Dracula, and they had a wall of like Nicolas Cage, which was, really fucking cool. But more specifically, when I was walking up, I recognized some of the voices from Straight Chilling almost instantly. And so once we got in, I met up with them and shook hands and introduced myself, and the rest is history. We've become really good friends. I'd have to say that live show and meeting, Rob and Andy and Cesar are probably one of my fondest memories of 2018. It's something that I kind of repeatedly look back to and makes me pretty happy. So I'm glad that I was able to kind of form the friendship out of this, and we were able to make some pretty cool stuff together. Thank you guys very much for listening and having my little excerpt on, and keep chilling.
Thanks, Anthony.
Ooh, I like that sign off. Good stuff.
Yeah, I know. I remember meeting Anthony at our live show at Sunray, and he had been kind of like contacting us through Twitter, and through meeting him like in person, he was like, "Hey man, yeah, I'm Anthony." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And I kind of remembered talking to him online. He's like, "Yeah, I drove up from Orlando," and when he said that, I didn't realize that he came up from Orlando, or that Something Ghoulish was like based out of Orlando until he said that. And I was like, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, man, you drove like 2 hours to listen to our dumbasses talk about a movie. Like, it's, I don't know. It just sort of, it was very flattering. And also, just through talking to Anthony at our live show and since, we've been in contact. He's a genuinely awesome dude. And if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, Something Ghoulish, definitely do it. It's worth your time for sure.
Yeah, you might have noticed there's a sound quality barrier there. Fucking Anthony with his tight ass production. That shit extends to the YouTube as well. That's a fucking well-oiled machine, and it's a fairly new channel that is right out of the gates, like knocking fucking homers right out of the park for my money. So talking about horror genres and things, I recommend it. I'm a Patreon of that myself. So, give money to them. Fuck us.
And the big thing, like, too, for me, it's kind of a bummer, is I have never actually been able to interact with Anthony so far. I wasn't at the live show where he went. I Skyped in, but I wasn't there to meet him and greet everybody. And then I missed out on the Suspiria episode because it wasn't playing here in Korea, and he was on that episode. But I will say his videos are like super impressive, and also his insight on the Suspiria episode, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, listening back, just as a listener, I wasn't on that particular cast, but his insight and like, that dude's like super knowledgeable, and we need to get him back on when I'm on, because like so far it's
could be a fucking Daenerys meets Tyrion moment with that shit.
So you're
Daenerys.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Because of your tits.
Because of my hot tits, yeah. I appreciate that. So yeah, that seems like a really cool guy, and the work that he does and his like knowledge is pretty great.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good stuff. I'm pretty impressed with that shit. So.
And also, just to speak about Sunray a little bit specifically, which is where we had our first live show, they announced today, this is sort of off topic, but they announced today that Joe Bob Briggs is coming through town this July.
My boy Dick Bibbs.
I took a steaming shit in my pants when I read that. Right in my pants.
Damn, dude.
So Sunray,
yeah. Draws.
Yeah, I know. Sunray does a lot of really cool stuff. They're also like very... they support the community, local filmmakers, podcasts, people like us. They're just like very involved in artists and like building the culture in the city, and I appreciate the hell out of them. And they're just cool people. I don't know. Just wanted to mention that real quick.
Yeah, if you're in the Jax area, check out the Sunray. You won't regret it. You'll play some pinball. You'll eat some popcorn, and you'll watch some dumbass podcasters fumble through a goddamn introduction to a movie.
This is a zombie movie. It's kind of funny, but it's also kind of not funny.
Right, our friend in the clouds? Yes. That's Justin phoning in from Korea.
Our friend in the clouds.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. Yes. It's a good movie.
I don't know why Justin sounds like that all of a sudden.
He's a voice modulator. It's very sweet of you.
So the next little segment we got lined up here.
Are you guys? Our audience is fatigued. I know they are.
they're definitely not. We as has been mentioned on the past few episodes, we've been soliciting people to send in some questions to us for a Q&A segment. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that right now. We've got some good questions from several people, and we're going to answer them as was promised. So let's go ahead and do it. Do you guys have the questions pulled up?
Oh, yeah. I have the question.
We got the question.
So I figured we could just round table it.
I got more questions than Arby's has meats, so we're ready to go.
Speaking of meats, question number 1.
That's right.
That's right.
Justin, you want to take it?
Yeah. Question number 1. We just gonna go through all of Michael's questions, or what are we?
Let's blast through Michael's question. So real quick, just to clarify, this is Michael. He sent us like 10 questions, and he is one of the hosts of Horror Apocalypse podcast. We've been in contact. If you haven't checked out Horror Apocalypse,
STDs were traded.
Definitely do that. We locked legs and swapped gravy. No, we didn't.
Oh, Jesus.
So we've got a lot of questions to get through. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Question for each of you. So for everyone, how do you like your burgers? What's the best non-beef burger you've had? I will say personally, if somebody asks me like, how do you want it? Or, how do you want it cooked? I usually just say medium. I like it, a little pink.
Yeah.
Get my pink on.
Me too. Medium.
I'm a man of simplicity. I'm a medium. I've gone medium rare a few times, but I make a mess. So
yeah, I like a medium. So as far as non-meats, we used to have a tradition where we'd always go for bison burgers on
non-meats, not
non-beef. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. We used to go get bison burgers on the 1st every year at Ted's. And those were more good.
Traditions than the goddamn This Is Us cast.
Yeah, alligator. I've had alligator burger down in that down in the backwoods of Jacksonville.
Clark's Fish Camp.
Not that one. There's one where you can pull your boat up to. It's on the swamp, dude.
I can't remember.
Clark's.
It's there's Clark's and there's Whitey's Fish Camp. I don't know which creek it's on.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's a few. So I've had alligator burgers, obviously mushroom burgers instead of meat. There was this place I went to Dallas and viewed the Cowboys Stadium, and right outside there was actually a pretty cool burger place. Ooh, Bullet! God damn, Randy.
That's what I'm drinking too.
Randy, oh god, fuck you guys. Randy showing off his Bullet bourbon, which I love. There was a place outside of the Dallas Cowboys stadium that was had all these crazy meat burgers, and we went there, and they also had a pickle bar which was fucking dope because I love pickles. They had a pickle bar, and I think if I remember correctly, I got a kangaroo burger. If I remember.
Whoa, you ate Rocco, you motherfucking.
So, but I gotta say, the best one I guess is still probably the bison. That sticks out in my mind is the bison burgers. They're so tender. I love the meat in the bison burger.
Bison was my second choice, or not second choice, but was one that I considered. But I actually just yesterday, for the first time, let me say this to start. A few months ago, I was contracted to do a little work on a presentation for a company called Beyond Meat, which sounds very heavy duty, but what it is basically it's a faux beef patty.
Yeah.
As Beyond Burger is their faux beef patty. They have other products too. Yeah. And I was just I watched, in order to do my job, I had all these videos I had to move around and stuff, and I watched a few of them, and some were people taste testing them and being like, this tastes just like fucking beef. It bleeds. It's got beet juice instead of blood. It's fucking, it's a burger patty that is supposed to be exactly like a beef patty. And we had it for the first time last night. It's not very widely available. And I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. It's not 1-to-1 comparison, but it's pretty fucking good. The problem is that it's more expensive for obvious reasons. But I was pretty impressed with it. So I love bison burgers. That would have been my answer. I haven't had I don't have a huge array. I haven't eaten fucking kangaroo, I'll tell you that. I've had a Beyond Burger, and I was delightfully surprised at how close to the taste of beef they got it, so that if I ever went full vegan or something, I know that there's at least a little bit of that flavor I can get.
There you go.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going with, as far as like non-beef burger, yeah, Ted's Montana Grill. You get the bison burger. You pull up, you get the George's Cadillac burger, which is basically like a bacon cheeseburger with barbecue sauce on it.
From the parking lot, because you just pull.
You just pull, yeah, it's like a McDonald's. You get the bison instead of the beef. You get the onion rings instead of the French fries, and it's like heaven. It's fucking great, man.
That's a good deal right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I like my burger. Question number 2. I'll take it. This is a question for Juice specifically.
Yeah.
Juice, do you realize you sound a little like Kevin Smith?
Say the word cats. Say cats.
Cats?
Yeah. That's Smithism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing about this question, I guess. I'm not a real big Kevin Smith guy. I know a lot, like he's got that kind of like cult status as like a figure, and I know he's done some things. I've just never been either. I've just never been like in his realm. So, and of the things I have seen, I'm like not too big a fan of, like especially God, what's that, Tusk? Fucking hate that movie.
Tusk.
I know you do.
It's
I know
good.
you do. And it's just, that's one of those polarizing things between me and Bob. So I didn't realize the only thing I've really invested in as far as Kevin Smith is he told this story once about Prince, because I really love Prince. He told a story about making like a documentary, making a movie with Prince, and I found that really interesting. So that's as far as Kevin Smith goes, other than just like hating Tusk and some of his other like shitty movies. I don't really know much about Kevin Smith. So apparently I sound a little like him. I don't know. You guys be the judge.
I'd never really considered that before. I've listened to his podcast a handful of times. I'm not like a huge fan of his podcast, but he has several of them. I'm a fan of his films for sure. Not all of them, but most of them, I would say. I never really... I don't know that I would agree. I don't think you sound like Kevin Smith, but I think it's very hilarious that someone else thinks that.
Yeah, I mean,
especially because you don't care.
Yeah,
no, yeah, or no, even.
I don't particularly like. I don't particularly hear it myself, but I like Kevin Smith. I've always been at least an apologist in his worst, in his Jersey Girl world. I was an apologist, but I don't really hear it for that, but I think he's a good guy, so I don't know. I like his other work.
And it's kind of interesting too, because we've all grown up together. You've heard my voice for,
I mean, yeah, it's kind of
years.
Yeah, I know every fucking nuance of your chiding fucking goddamn voice.
You do.
Fucking sick of it. Randy, you want to take the next one?
Sure, yeah. So this is a question for each of us. What is the most disturbing movie you have ever seen, and what made it so disturbing for you? So this is a really fun question, and we get to really dig into some really cutesy, fun areas, like what the fuck's making us sad at night. Any answers, anybody? For me, I have several answers. There's a lot of movies that have like left an impression on me. Martyrs, we just reviewed. That left an impression on me, I think, mostly because it was like really effective gore done with a sort of an artistic purpose, seemingly, and sort of any French extremism that I've seen inside, fucking
high tension,
yeah, Switchblade Romance, fucking, and moving beyond that, like a lot of foreign films actually in this category for me. Obviously, a Serbian film was pretty disturbing, even though I kind of I was kind of ready for the rug pull on that one. And then Funny Games. The first time I saw that really kind of fucked me up. But really, the worst for me. Let's start with this. One of the worst for me was Hills Have Eyes, because it was the first rape scene I'd ever seen. That was the remake. That fucked me up.
I was going to bring that up.
That's on my list.
But yeah, I remember, I've never finished that movie. Justin, I remember you and I went to the theater to watch it.
Out after that scene.
Yeah, we got to the rape scene and we're like, you want to leave? And I'm like, yeah, let's roll
like,
out.
I was gonna so I wanted to say I picked two movies like for their overall movie as like it really like bothers me and I don't ever want to watch them again. I hate that those like images are in my head. But of the scene that has just always like stuck in my mind, it's that one from The Hills Have Eyes remake. And to spoil, I'll do a little spoiler for you. But what is happening is a father is being burned alive, like on a cross or something, being burned alive while his family,
tree, probably,
while his family is trying to save him. Meanwhile, in their trailer, his two daughters, one is being raped by a mutant man. And while her sister watches and has a gun pointed at her baby while another mutant man, I think, suckles on her breast. So, and I was just like, nope, nah. And while like the man also like the doors open, the man's like screaming, being burned alive like their father. It's just like the idea of like the sister watched her sister get raped while her father's burned alive. Well, it's just like, it's terrible. It's like one of the worst constructed scenes I've like ever seen. And I hate that it's in my mind. And me and Rob legit were like, we're peacing out. Like, there's no need to finish this movie.
Yeah,
I did finish that movie, but like, one that I didn't, and this is pretty rare for me to not finish a movie, is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I had to turn that one off, not because it was like, I
haven't seen it,
like not just because it was disturbing, but also because I was like, this feels pointless. Like this feels like a worthless exercise in watching footage. So
I was watching that with you too, and Becky was there, I think.
Yeah, I think we all quit at the same time.
We were just like, this is terrible. I
wanted it to be like intrigued by it or something, and I just wasn't intrigued even on that base level. I couldn't even get the interest up. So there's that. I couldn't get the boner up, certainly. And like next would be Requiem for a Dream for me, and that one in particular was effective for me because I watched it with my mom. I think I've brought that up on the podcast. My mom sat down and started watching it, and despite my protests, sat and watched the whole fucking thing with me as I sat there unsure what to do while watching people get ass and fucking arms chopped off and drug addictions and shit, like all sorts of shit. Spoiler alert. But and then finally my last one was We Need to Talk About Kevin. Have you guys heard about this movie?
I'm aware of it.
Didn't we cover it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh.
No, We Need to Talk About Kevin is a movie. It's a pretty recent movie with whatever the fuck Kylo Ren's name is, the actor.
Oh, okay, now I'm thinking of a different movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have trouble with every actor name, I think.
That dude's name is what is that dude's name?
John C. Reilly's in it, and
Adam
Driver.
His name is Adam Driver.
Yeah.
What's that fucking woman's name? Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton plays Adam Driver's mom as he grows up. It's sort of like progresses from when he's a kid to when he becomes a teenager. I believe Adam Driver's in it. I may be misremembering it, actually. I'm going to double check. But that is a movie that is kind of steeped in current horrors. It's very much like it instills a very specific fear in you. And I'll just say it's about like kids who are disassociating in a way to where they become murderous, basically, like murderous teenagers. So that one really bothered me just because it's kind of timely in today's society. So that one might be the top of my list. Once I really break it all down, it stuck with me, and it's something I think about every time we hear about something horrible in the news like that.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's not Adam Driver.
Okay.
It's Ezra Miller.
Okay. They have a similar look.
It's the dark hair through, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mine would be obviously a Serbian film. And one of the things I hate most about that somebody made us watch a Serbian film, Mikey made us watch a Serbian film, is that it occupies so much space, in what's the worst film you've seen? Well, it's obviously like a Serbian film, but I hate it's like such a cop out. Like it occupies so many realms that it's like, God damn, I hate that it gets so much attention. It's a fucking Serbian film. I don't know, but fuck that movie. And the other one I had was Human Centipede 2, which I think me and Bob watched together.
We turned it off.
Which is terrible.
I never finished it.
I finished it.
Really? I didn't finish it.
Maybe not. I don't know. Human
Probably
Centipede
passed
2.
out.
Human Centipede 2 is also just a terrible, terrible movie. But I mean, good. That's the dude who makes those movies who literally just like wants to shock you. But in Human Centipede 2, like he really kind of pulls it off. Like the way he makes, it's not just the things he does, it's the way he made the movie. It's black and white and it feels so dirty and gritty. Like it feels like just from the first scene, the dude that they get to play in that movie. They found the nastiest dude they could. I don't know where they found that dude or how he agreed to be like an actor or whatever. That is like one of the nastiest fucking dudes.
He's an Urukai. He found him under a tree root.
And the thing that they make it, like the things that they make him do are like so disgusting and the gritty. Oh, it's like. Oh, that is such a
jerking off with sandpaper.
But he's always like moist and like sweaty and like the way the film is shot. It's not just black and white. It's got this certain like kind of filter on that makes everything like kind of real crisp. I don't know if it's gross, dude. It's a gross.
Yo, dog, why are you so moist?
Dude, he is. Dude, he's like the sweatiest dude. Oh, he's fucking gross. The grossest dude I've seen. So Human Centipede 2 is up there.
We might need to zoom a little tighter here.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I was just going to mention a Serbian film in the Hills Have Eyes remake, which we've already talked about, so we can move on.
I took up a lot of time.
Next question, Juice. Take it away, number 4.
Number 4, question for each of you. What is that one movie you absolutely recommend everyone see and why? So here's where Michael made a mistake. He did not mention horror movie. What is the one horror movie you recommend? So I did not pick a horror movie because he didn't specify. So
You Got Served, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That is the one movie I recommend everyone see. But no, so yeah, everyone go around. What's a one movie you recommend everyone see? And he specifies everyone too. Yeah. So I've got a little.
So I don't pick one movie ever.
Yeah, I did pick a horror movie, even though he didn't specify because it's a horror movie podcast. I just kind of thought that's what he was asking. So one movie that I recommend that is most likely going to be palatable to anyone who enjoys horror movies is Shaun of the Dead. That movie's incredibly hilarious, endearing. There's like solid zombies, solid gore. It's like a love story. It's got everything going for it. It's so tightly written. I fucking love that movie. I can watch it over and over again, man. Shaun of the Dead.
Randy?
So like I said, I don't pick one movie. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. And I certainly can't. And if you give me the option to pick a category, I'm going to do it. So I have a horror category of lists of movies and then a non-horror category. My horror category includes these 3 films. We have Psycho, we have Evil Dead, and we have The Shining. I think those are all like bench points for horror. And then for non-horror, I have 3 movies. They are Schindler's List because of its fucking importance. Sure. 12 Angry Men because of its fucking importance. Mm-hmm. And then Brazil, which I actually don't know if you guys have seen, but is one of my favorite fucking movies. And I think is one of the most fucking artistically valuable movies in terms of like visuals. It's just so rich and interesting. And I don't know. I think that movie is fucking top tier.
Ooh, so you've intrigued me. I've never seen, or I'm not even aware of that movie. So
watch Brazil. Don't know anything about it. Just go watch it. And I hope I'm not overhyping it because I have a tendency to do that with movies I love. But for me, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think that it's, if you have any sort of artistic bone in your body, you will find something that you really like about it.
Good. I'll check it out. Cool. Mine, I couldn't choose 2 movies either, and I had this like spectrum too, kind of like Randy a little bit, but I have this thing. So it's like recommend for everyone. And here's the thing: I live in Korea now, and so I actually get this question a lot because people want to watch like American movies and stuff like that to practice their English, or just stuff like that. So it kind of gives me this new realm too. And when I think of it too, I think about like everyone. So when we recommend like horror movies, you're like, well, this person. So I didn't pick a horror movie because, that's kind of a niche kind of thing. But my kind of philosophy is like this 2 spectrum is like, if you're going to recommend a movie for everyone, I think like the purest movies, I still personally like love cartoons and animation. And I'd have to go with like WALL-E or Toy Story. They're like the most purest forms of like love and friendship. And like, they're just like so I don't know.
You obviously haven't seen the satanic undercurrent going through Toy Story.
I don't know. Those movies are just so great. But on the other side of the spectrum, kind of like Randy said, like I would say the Schindler's List or like The Pianist. Because I think like the Holocaust is like the purest form of evil that you can like specifically reference.
I heard a study that a third of Americans don't believe in the Holocaust anymore.
It's terrible. Sorry,
everyone.
And that's why. So I have like this two spectrum, like, oh, Toy Story and WALL-E, they're like, so pure and everything. But like people need to know like what pure evil looks like, and like movies being able to empathize like with the character like Pianist and Schindler's List and stuff like that. Those are like such important movies. So kind of two sides of the spectrum on that one, but those were my choices.
Nice.
I agree with those choices.
Next question. Number 5. So this is a question for each one of us. What is the worst movie you have ever seen and regret losing that time you spent watching it?
Ugh.
So, what you got? What you got, Randy?
I have a few because I never pick one. I have some horror and some non-horror. I'm going to start with horror. Underworld 6 or whatever that one that we watched for the podcast. The only Underworld I've seen.
Blood farts.
Blood farts, and I can't explain how much I was so ready and primed to hate that movie, but it couldn't have fucking compared with the absolute culmination of that feeling. I was absolutely vindicated in every preconceived notion I had towards that film. I hated that shit. Yeah, I was Dashboard Confessional in that shit. And then fucking The Mummy 2017. Yeah. I just went through our list for the horror because there are several that are clunkers, but the Mummy, my God. What were they thinking? Like, there's nothing redeemable there.
Blumhouse is going to save it. That's kind of a tangent, but
Blumhouse is going to save the Universal Monsters world, but not the fucking Mummy 2017.
No.
That ship has sailed and sunk and been shattered.
Blumhouse couldn't save Glass, Rob.
That's true.
Shyamalan couldn't save Glass.
Bob.
Blumhouse isn't here. Blumhouse isn't here to save. It's here to provide platform for elevator pitch. Non-horror. The worst movies I've seen. One movie I mentioned that I don't walk out of movies very much or don't turn off movies very much. Epic Movie. Walked out of that shit.
I was there with you.
Yeah, I remember.
All the
we
movies
walked out
y'all
together.
didn't finish, I was there for some reason.
Yeah, you're always there, Bob.
Maybe you're the problem.
Yo, dog, you want to leave? Yeah.
Hey, man, let's go watch Epic Movie. And then halfway through, you want to leave?
Yeah,
oh, okay. That's Rob. That's my impression. And then I would say Twilight 1. The only thing that made that movie palatable. That's the only Twilight I've seen, I should say. Whatever. But Twilight is the only time I watched it was with Riff Tracks. And it was, I mean, even with Riff Tracks, that shit is tough to stomach. It is.
Wow.
It is made for like 12-year-old girls.
No, it's not for me, and I'm like, power to you. I don't hold it against you if you like these movies. If you hate Schindler's List, then fuck you. But other than that, like, I mean, Twilight, not for me, and it showed with every frame of that fucking movie. Did not care for it. Rip Track saved it a little bit, though. I'll give him that credit.
All right, Juice. What about you?
The Visitor, dude. That movie, Drew picked this movie like early in our cast days, and I have this distinct memory of it. Like, he picked it off some Bobo-ass streaming platform or something. And I remember to this day, like every movie he scrolled through, I was like, what is that? What? I've never heard of any of these movies. He was like scrolling through like every movie that was on. Do you remember what that was?
I really don't, man. But
do you remember? I'd like for some reason I just have this like perfect memory of that night, and like being like, "What is this streaming service?" And like Drew didn't even know at the time. He wasn't even like, "Oh, I want to watch The Visitor." He was like scrolling through this Bobo ass streaming service of none of these movies I had ever even heard of, and landed on The Visitor. And as I was watching this movie, I was like, "This is the most." Like nothing I have ever felt in my life. Like dude, I can't even, that movie was, it's the biggest waste of my time I can think. And for some reason I had this distinct memory of it, and that's why it just like sticks out so much in my mind.
Yeah.
But The Visitor, like I was just like, where did this come from? What is this? Like, why am I watching it? Like, it was terrible.
It's
fucking
nuts.
The Visitor, man.
Man,
you were even saying earlier, like smoke weed and watch. Like, I don't even know how you would find it. I don't know how we found it.
Actually,
it's like an enigma.
Since we have reviewed it, Arrow put it out on Blu-ray. It's only region B, which is kind of a bummer.
Oh,
but yeah, you can
shit.
buy it on Blu-ray now.
Not a bummer.
Dude, I'd totally watch that movie again, like knowing what it is.
I would watch it again.
I don't know. That
I think I was pretty
but
drunk. I was drunk when I watched that movie.
It's a good one to like watch with friends and just have your minds collectively blown. It's like every scene is like crazier than the last. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. My answer for this, I fucking hate this movie. Knock Knock. It's terrible.
I'd love to hear Rob bitch about Knock
I'm
Knock.
so surprised you didn't say Creep.
Rob, talk about
I hate Knock Knock more than
pizza.
Creep. Talk about
Tell us about the pizza. Was it free pizza?
It
Rob?
was free pizza.
Free?
Dude, okay, here's the thing. Keanu Reeves, maybe he's not the best actor ever, but I like him. I like a lot of the movies that he's in.
He's supposed to be a fucking phenomenal human being.
He seems like a cool guy, somebody that you could hang out with or whatever. He's like not very pretentious, even though he's super rich and famous and whatnot. He seems very down to earth, very grounded. It takes a special director, a man like Eli Roth, to completely ruin Keanu Reeves. This movie is dog shit. Don't watch it. Like, maybe just don't. Fuck curiosity. Don't watch Knock Knock.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's a wet fart in the pants of America, to quote Randy Gandy Gilandy. It's dog shit.
That is not reserved for this film. That is reserved for Underworld Part 6 or whatever.
It's terrible. Randy, you want to take number 6?
Number 6. This is a question directly for me. It is, how did you get into movies? So here's the story of how I got into movies. I was born on 3 Mile Island, and I was birthed by Jason Blum's test tubes. And I was created in order to produce buzz marketing for his films via podcasting. So that's how I wound up where I am today. I have no actual emotions or thoughts. I am just here to tell you to, watch Us by Jordan Peele and drink Pepsi. I'm here for you. I'm here to be your walking... Fucking no, none of that shit. I'm a human being in America in modern day. So I was raised by a television, and in part at least, and I like stories, and that's how we get stories in modern day. There's not much more to it than that. I think if you're asking like what are some of the first movies I ever saw, the usual. It was Disney. It was fucking Aladdin. It was Lion King. It was Bedknobs and Broomsticks. It was, if you want to talk early horror, I can talk about fucking Return to Oz all day long. I could do that,
right,
but I'm gonna skip it for now. I mean, movies are great. Movies are great and also terrible and mostly terrible. But there you go.
Cool. Right. Juice, number 7.
Question for Rob specific. Favorite Halloween franchise movie and why?
So my favorite's the original. That's too obvious, though. I'm not going to pick it. Everybody, I assume most people.
All right, what's your second favorite?
And why? My second favorite is Halloween 2 because it's amazing.
Thank God. Thank God.
Halloween 2.
We didn't get into this again.
Yeah, no. Just to briefly explain it, I don't know. It's like a very solid sequel. I love that it takes place on the same night. You got Jamie Lee Curtis in the movie again, even though she's like basically bedridden for half the movie. But it's got like great atmosphere. It takes place in a hospital on Halloween night that apparently 3 people work at, and they have like no electricity. I don't know. It's just like
and no emergencies to handle.
Yeah, no shit. It's a very spooky setting.
It's a small town.
Carpenter is like very involved in it. The music is fantastic. There's great kills. It's just like it's a very solid sequel to one of the greatest slasher movies ever made. The only sort of like weird thing that happens is like you find out that, oh no, Michael and Jamie are brother and sister, which, whatever. It's kind of, whatever. But as far as like the Halloween franchise is concerned, that's probably my second favorite for sure. It's a great watch.
All right. Well, thank God.
I disagree with you.
What's yours?
Nobody cares, Randy. The question wasn't for you.
I was saying
so,
very,
Rob,
very quickly.
Rob, next question.
Okay.
That's fair.
Number 8, question for each one of us. Which disturbs you more when watching a horror film? Adult, child, or animal gore? And provide examples. Randy?
Okay, hold on. Let's all at one time give our answer. Let's on 3 say what our answer out of those 3 answers
I'm gonna deviate. I know what you're going for.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Child.
Child. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Child.
You guys did not listen to the rules of the game.
I'm in Korea. Okay. I've got a delay.
There is a delay. Yeah. There is a delay.
I refuse to believe that.
So, child, the only example that I could immediately think of, which even if this was an adult that this should happen to, it'd still be fucking horrifying, is the decapitation scene in Hereditary, where the little girl gets her head knocked off. And
that's a good example.
Think of Serbian film?
It's fucked up. I often try not to think of Serbian.
Okay. That was the thing I was saying. I thought Serbian film was just going to be like the blanket, because that's obviously terrible. But I picked another one, which I think holds a lot of value. The Exorcist.
Yeah, The Exorcist, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, a little girl is possessed and the old fucking crucifix scene. Jesus Christ.
Literally.
I mean, so pretty much that whole movie as far as like what happens. But I mean, I feel like The Exorcist is the perfect example of like that's something that's just hard to stomach. Rob,
sorry, a friend sent me a text message. It's very funny. I can't talk about it.
Oh, so fun for everyone listening. Oh.
Sorry.
So yeah, child for sure. The Exorcist.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say animals or something instead of child.
Oh no! Child. I didn't realize that. I thought everybody was gonna say blanket a Serbian film because of child rape.
No, I was just saying out of those 3 answers.
What was your example, Randy?
I had a few. Martyrs. It's on the brain because we just watched it this week.
Yeah.
Martyrs. There's children being fucking abused in that. They're not sexually abused, which I was grateful for. That movie had enough horror in it. But yeah, there's that. There's Pet Cemetery, where you have a the whole movie is driven by the death of a child, and that child's death is probably the most effective part of that movie to me, or the least laugh worthy. You know what I mean? That's something worth noting. I think Jaws. There is is there a more sad scene in a 70s horror film than fucking the mom looking for her son who is sitting on the beach sunbathing?
That's a bad one. That's a bad one. God,
that's a rough one. And then It, especially the new It, because it's so brutal, and watching Georgie get swallowed up. There's child gore is absolutely more horrifying than adult or animal. Certainly, like animal gore is used in lieu of child gore more often than not in movies, because few people are willing to pull the trigger on having a child mauled or mangled in some way in a film. And adult gore is it's
in Marvel movies.
It's not even notable. It's literally off camera. Who gives a shit?
It's expected, really.
Unless it's really deliberate and really focused on, it's not very cutting for me, and I don't think for most people. But child, anytime you see a child get hurt, there's laws in some countries about seeing a child get shot, even with CGI. On camera. There's a reason for that. It's because we have an innate fucking biological need to not see that happen. So, I mean, it's child. It's child for me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Randy, you want to take question number 9?
I can do number 9. Questions for each of you. You wake up and find you are suddenly the last person on Earth, circumstances notwithstanding. You are now free to do what you want. What are the top 5 things you would do? Keep in mind, you are all alone and no one loves you. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. So anybody want to start us off on that? 5 things.
Here's my thing, and it's going to be ridiculous, but you got to start to eat the food that's going to spoil. So I'm going for the cream. It's not going to last very long.
It's in a freezer.
I love that's your number one.
Off.
Well, if the power, I don't know how to keep a power grid up. How the fuck am I going to keep a power grid up?
Yeah,
all alone.
Gotta find Rob.
It's not going to last too long, man.
Yeah. See, so I mean, not only cream, but my first thought is like, if I want to enjoy certain foods, like a lot of them are going to spoil and I'm going to have to eat them now. So I guess a lot of meats, I would have to be like grilling my dick off and like get some cream. I'd have some steak cream dinners for as long as that power grid.
And everything
Dude, your shits are going to be terrible.
Yeah, and everything you're saying, taken out of context, sounds fucking awful. I want you to know that.
Also, you gotta stock up on lube. I mean, if you're the only one left, you gotta stock up on lube. I would find a baller. I would find a baller house near the beach. So find the best house at the beach. Stock up on quality liquor and get a dog. You know, gotta have some companionship.
That's a good one.
Gotta get a dog. Yeah.
Don't. Hey, Juice.
Yeah.
Don't fuck that dog. Not allowed. Even with no one around. I'll see.
Damn.
I will.
Thanks for the PSA, Randy.
Randy's omnipresent.
I'm omnipotent, and I will tell you about yourself if you fuck a dog. I will.
So for this one, I don't know that I have like 5 specific points. I have like a handful of things. A lot of them kind of go hand in hand. So the first thing that I would do is I would find a very dope car, something that was fast and had plenty of storage. I would load that bitch up and just
the Prius.
The Prius. Super fast Priuses. I would I don't know, I'd head out west. I'd drive up the west coast, probably up through Canada into Alaska, and just like make a big circle around the country, man. I'd hit as many places as I could and just take a fucking road trip. After that, I would probably find like a pretty large house on the beach, like Justin said, but I'd specifically try and find something with solar panels on it so that I could have panners. So I could have that electricity. I would raid the liquor cabinet, specifically in town at the Ruth's Chris, because I know they have a lot of liquor that I can't afford. I'll just get all that shit. I've also been watching the Last Man on Earth, which is like it's a comedy show or whatever. Anyway, one of the things that they do in that show, I think it's actually in the very first episode of the show, he makes like he takes a mini pool and he fills it with margaritas and just lays in it and drinks it. So I'd probably do something like that. I don't know. That's a handful of things that I'd do.
So much tequila.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Man, you are looking to die. So my top 5, here's what they are. Top 5 things you do if the world ends, you're the last person on Earth, you can do whatever you want. First, I'll clean the blood off my hands. Second, I'll eat some lunch. Third, I'll go to the animal shelter and begin forming an army of battle dogs so that I can battle off the elements in the form of bears and other dogs and whatnot. I'll take a Forever 21 mannequin with a basketball for a head to be my wife. And then I'll road trip with my dog Army to Disney World because it'll be open. It's always open. It's never not open. So there you go.
Ride all the rides, Randy.
I got the 5.
There you go.
That is truly bizarre, but I like it. Juice, number 10?
I actually don't have it copied. I only went to number 9 for some reason. I don't know why. So can you take that one? I'll take the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the last question that was sent to us from Michael from Horror Apocalypse. It's about Horror Apocalypse. Specifically, he says, is there any chance of having a collaboration between Straight Chilling and Horror Apocalypse? To which, yeah, for sure, man. We'll figure something out that works for both you guys and us. Obviously, we cannot do that right now. But yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Let's do it right now. No, like we're open to hang out with anybody.
Call his ass up.
Yeah, like fucking. If you're not a Nazi, we'll definitely talk to you on the air. Who gives a shit?
Well, I don't know about definitely. What if they're a pedophile? Right?
Yeah, I mean, we have more lines
as long
than
as
that.
they're not a Nazi pedophile. No, okay. There's a litmus test, but it's pretty not stringent. So
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty open to talking to people and doing cool things, collaborating. We're all about collaboration, man. Like the horror community is fucking dope, and we appreciate meeting and greeting folks who dwell in that community.
Don't fraternize with cooters.
Yeah. So we have a few more questions here, actually. So we got 2 questions from Matthew. Let's go ahead and tackle those real quick. Juice, do you have those right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
yeah.
so this one's a little tough. What differentiates a supernatural thrill? I am drunk on soju.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little buzz on here. Yeah.
A supernatural thriller from a horror film. Please provide examples to explain reasoning. Whew. Reading.
So just to clarify, because I spoke to Matthew in person about this, he definitely does say supernatural thriller. I don't know if he meant like psychological thriller or not, but we could take it both ways or whatever.
I mean, because the only example for supernatural that I could really like, I try to search and come up with was that's a hell. Goddamn. The Sixth Sense was kind of like a thriller where it might not necessarily be like a horror movie, and I guess in my mind, I don't really like these kind of like genre. I voted Jurassic Park was a horror movie, so this is not a good question for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, fuck it, what? It's all good, baby. But
yep.
So good.
This is usually where the show starts to end, and our drunkenness becomes a little not so apparent once we stop recording.
So The Sixth Sense was the one that came up for supernatural, since he specified that. And I guess like it's kind of got more like of a positive outcome in the end, I guess, like it's like got more of a drama kind of setting, or like a drama kind of feel, like arc and everything like that, character development with just like some like horror elements, like, oh, this kid can see ghosts and that's like a scary thing. But like the overall like development of him and how his life ends up, and it's usually kind of in a more positive light, I guess. But that's really all I got. I don't know.
Yeah, I pretty much treated this as if he was asking about psychological thrillers. Yeah. So like, yeah, I don't really like playing the like horror movie gatekeeper. Like, if it's something you think is a horror movie, then it's a horror movie. Like, I don't know. I don't really like having to draw those lines in the sand too much, but it is like, in my opinion, if it's something that somebody watches and they say, oh, that's a psychological thriller, more often than not, I would just lump it in the horror category. Like the most obvious one that comes to my mind is Silence of the Lambs. Like, and I think the reason that like somebody who might try to draw that line very clearly in the sand for themselves is somebody who does not want to be associated with horror movies, because I think it's like a lowbrow genre, and somebody who does that would come off to me as being somewhat pretentious, and I don't really understand the point of that. So that's, to me, is like really the only reason in like really drawing that line firmly and standing by it, and like, no, that's 100% not a horror movie, it's definitely a psychological thriller, is because you have some sort of like hierarchy of genres in your head. You
got a hierarchy in your brain.
But yeah, I don't know, that it's all kind of the same to me, I guess.
I mean, okay. I actually very much appreciate your stance on that, Bob, and it kind of encapsulates what I was struggling to say, is that, yeah, the genre definition is pretty arbitrary. If it makes you feel horrified, count it as a horror. And if the world doesn't conform to that, that's not a problem. That's just the natural state of being an individual. So, I mean, in that regard, I'll say, yeah, it doesn't really have a strong difference, but in an effort to answer the question, I do have some sort of what I consider to be differentiating marks between the things. And these are things that have numerous caveats and exceptions. So none of this is set in stone for me, even though I'm the one bringing them forward. So they're very similar. And I also sort of set aside the supernatural thriller thing. I hope that's not like part and parcel to what he's trying to get at, because to me, it's like, well, that's such a narrow category versus one of the broader categories you can have, that it's not even really like it's not apples and oranges, it's apples and fruit. Like how do you compare the things? They are very similar, these things, and I would say that thrillers are generally more grounded in some form of reality. Supernatural stuff can exist, but it works extra hard to sell those things to you because you're a skeptical audience, or it has a more skeptical audience in general. Shaun of the Dead, nobody questions how zombies came to be. They just experience the ride. That's part of horror a lot of the times, in my experience, is just sort of accepting whatever horrific experience is going to happen because somebody just designed a world that's that way. You can do anything when you're writing. But with a thriller, it's more like, okay, they want you to see yourself in at least some aspect of this story. So they have to ground it a little closer to reality to make you feel that. It's more focused on a psychology of a character, or at least a fear, a common fear, or a sort of a hive mind sort of fear that exists. It centers around themes of paranoia and confusion. There's a lower gore level in general than the majority of horror fare. Of course, it's such a broad category again that it's kind of tough to say that, but in general, you won't see a lot of thrillers with extreme gore. And I can't think of too many examples where that's not true. It's rarely gratuitous. Most are always likely to be reflective of a problem or a specific quandary in the real world. So like, whether or not there's a self is I would count Blade Runner as a thriller, and there's a question of what is self. Does a Turing, like, it's Ex Machina again? Like, does the Turing test make you your own individual, or does it just make you a very sophisticated robot? Those are like sort of, or even like things like fear of the other. Those are things explored by horror, certainly. Like Get Out definitely explores some deeper themes, but thrillers sort of use those as the jumping off point almost always, whereas horror doesn't have to conform to that. And again, like there's so many exceptions and caveats that it's almost a useless exercise, I think, to really make those lines. So that's really all I got.
Yeah. Enjoy what you enjoy, call it what you want. Just don't be pretentious about it, I guess. That's kind of...
Have a reason.
Yeah. Juice, this one's for you, my friend. Also from Matthew. So what are your favorite monster yabos, creature yabos? What you got?
I like this question. I like this question a lot because there is I did two picks.
Okay.
Because there's one as far as like memorable. So ones that always stick out in my mind as far as like yabos from a creature in a movie is Brain Dead or Dead Alive. Do you know what I'm talking about, Rob?
Yeah, you're talking about the mom at the end?
The mom, yeah. So the mom, that movie's so gross in the way it does its special effects. The mom essentially like deteriorates like throughout the movie. And so she's just an older woman in general. So at the very end of the movie, the mom becomes this huge, like gigantic, melty monster or whatever. And then she's just got her tits swinging. Like, I always thought that was a hilarious, like, addition. Like, the whole time, like, her tits are just swinging. She's just this old, melty lady, huge ass monster. And I always thought that was fucking hilarious.
That's a good pick.
So that's the one that always sticks out in my mind. Now, if he was trying to talk about like, oh, what are some good yabos or whatever, like for creatures, the only thing I could think of was like, oh, what might be like some good yabos for like creatures is only thing that popped in my mind was like 13 Ghosts. Like that you got the one like where they like legit like picked like a porn star to play like a naked ghost or whatever. So I was like, well, I mean, I guess that sticks out in my mind as far as like, what kind of quality creature yabos, I guess. I'm sure they're fake tits, but either way, like, so Ghost, I guess, technically qualifies as creature. So, I mean, if you're going for quality, I guess 13 Ghosts, yabos, but memorable is the mom tits at the end of Dead Alive or Brain Dead, whichever you want to call it.
Depends on where you're from. Yeah. Solid.
Good answer.
Solid. We got a handful.
I take my yabo seriously, guys.
You're the only one.
We know.
The only one. We got a handful of questions in from Mikey as well. First one he sent in here is, what horror movie could you watch over and over again without ever getting tired of? This is hard to pick just one movie. I had a slew of them. Shaun of the Dead, Sleepaway Camp, Halloween, Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead. Those are the ones I went with.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I have a lot. Like I said, Shaun of the Dead's a good one that I'll add to my list. I didn't have it, but you're absolutely correct. That's a good one. Shaun of the Dead, The Witch, man. I think it has become like my favorite fucking horror movie. That movie, every time I watch it, I just like I'm blown away. Halloween, I watch it every Halloween, and I always want to watch it on Halloween. So I mean, I don't want to watch it like right now. It's like January, but I would be fine if like it were on. I wouldn't bitch. But and Scream, it's the same kind of thing. Like I feel like I could watch like Scream like a million goddamn. I feel like I have watched Scream a million goddamn.
I should have had Scream on my list too. Yeah.
So those are the big ones. I mean, there's probably more. Like I really like The Fly and like The Thing, but I mean, those are the ones that I know I have seen like countless times now, and I still like am ready when Halloween comes around. You better believe fucking Halloween's coming on and Scream's coming on. So
yeah, Randy.
There's a lot of crossover. Sleepaway Camp, Shaun of the Dead on my list. I would add a few that you mentioned. The Witch is a great addition, actually. Rob, you said Return of the Living Dead was one that really resonated with me that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Things that you guys didn't mention, I would say Little Shop of Horrors. For me, that's like gold standard. I have so much love for that fucking film that I don't know. I could gush for hours, and I have on an episode. So there's that. There's Cabin in the Woods, which I think is like, to me, like I didn't conclude Scream, but I would consider that in the same realm of Scream, where it's almost like a comment on the horror genre in general.
Yeah.
Not almost, it is. And I think that it does it in such a way that's so satisfying. And it's such a, like, an embarrassment of riches in terms of things to look at, like without spoiling a whole lot for those who haven't seen it. Like there's some moments in that film where there's like, you don't even know where to look because there's so many interesting things happening on camera. There's The Shining. I've seen that movie probably more than just about any movie I've seen as an adult. That's not including films I watched like on repeat on VHS when I was a kid. And then Jaws. I think Jaws is, I don't know. I just think it is beyond reproach. There's nothing about it.
It's amazing.
Would make me turn off. Like it's, you know, I don't need to say anything about Jaws. You guys know about Jaws. So Jaws is on my list for sure.
Yeah, good pick.
I watched it this weekend just because, you know, scrolling through channels and it was on and I was like, oh, this is what I'm watching now.
See, and that's the thing. Like in relation to Juice, what you said about Halloween, I consider that same thing about Halloween and Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is my favorite horror for the Christmas time season. Those are specific to the season, and I will watch them every fucking year. I certainly will. But it's almost like they self-constrain because of that. Like these other movies I can watch anytime, and most of these movies I watch more than once a year. I would say
even like Jaws, I would be like, again, I would watch it right now and I would be fine with it. But I really like, my body wants to watch it when it's summertime.
The 4th of July.
You know, and that's the thing like that. I could watch Halloween right now and it would be fine and I would enjoy it.
That is the optimal time for sure.
Yeah, but my body would be like, God damn, why is it January and not October?
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Shop of Horrors, I can watch anytime. Shaun of the Dead, I can watch anytime. Sleepaway Camp, I can watch anytime. Although the optimal time for Sleepaway Camp is when somebody is around who hasn't seen it. So that's the reality.
Yeah. Randy, you want to take the next one, number 2?
Sure. Mikey's second question is: if there is one movie you could review again, which one would it be? Does anybody want to start?
So mine already won with The Descent, but I have a couple more. If we did another like next year or something, January, what do you regret or redo? Ex Machina, I think would be a great one to do again.
Yeah, you're right.
That cast got out of
Yeah, that would be a good one.
That is an OG cast that got ridiculous.
Yeah, go listen to that podcast if you want to hear us at our fucking worst and best at the same time.
That was wild. And also The Fly, mainly just because I love that fucking movie. And I just want to talk about it again. So we did that like early on too. Ex Machina, The Fly, and they're both quality films that would be great to cover again. So those are my 2 picks.
Damn.
Bobby, what about you?
I really, now that you mentioned, I really want to talk about Ex Machina again. That's not what I had though. So we just did like a January poll pick where we each picked a movie that we would like to review again. And Justin, like he said, won with The Descent. I would actually like to talk about Scream again. I feel like we did Scream kind of a disservice. We did it like way back before we revamped the show, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, horror or otherwise. It's just one of my favorite movies. I'd like to talk about it again. So Scream, yeah.
There you go. By the way, I want to mention that The Descent. I looked back and to see what the difference was between the average score and the original run and the original review and then the new review, and it's a 0.5 difference, but there's a difference between 3.5 and 4, which I think is pretty significant.
Yeah,
like as an average consensus. So yeah, I think we did that movie a little bit better the second time around. I'm happy about that.
I think so.
For me, I want to review Underworld again. Blood Wars is what it's called.
Are you serious?
I do. I want to review it again, and I'll tell you why. Because I was going through the fucking I was going through the fucking list to do my segment today, and I gave that movie a 1.5. That is far too generous for this fucking movie.
I'm actually pretty surprised by that.
I was surprised by that, and like I don't know if it's a victory of hindsight or what, but I feel like that is a disservice to humanity. That movie deserves to be shat on, and I shat on it audibly, but I did not give it the score it deserved, which is 0 or 5.5 or whatever. I don't think we can give it a 0. To be honest.
I remember really enjoying your point of view on that movie, Randy. For some reason, I remember you specifically saying this is just a blue movie, and I thought that was hilarious and very accurate. Everything's like blue washed. It's like
blue washed.
I'm a guy who enjoys the Underworld like franchise, like it's like kind of a baseline. There's nothing I can like picture in my mind from that movie. There's nothing. I can't pull anything out.
That is the only Underworld movie I've seen, so it is what I pull from when I think of Underworld. Is it? I don't know that it's. I have
the
no
only
confidence.
one.
We got to finish these questions. We got to finish.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Justin, number 3.
That's for me.
Take number 3.
Number 3. Suspiria 2018 gets mentioned a lot ever since its theatrical release. Yes, that is appropriate. Would you all consider reviewing the Argento original in 2018 in a future comparison episode after Bob reviews the Blu-ray release for both? I think like the only thing about that, I would personally be down. The only thing about that is we just covered both of those movies within the last year. Now, I would love to get in on the Suspiria 2018 discussion because I missed out on the cast for that one. And I think it would probably be, of anything, a good consideration for a future poll pick. So, like, we choose like a movie and a remake to compare and contrast for the future. So I think that's a really good idea for a future poll pick. Unfortunately, like we just did both those movies so recently, but I, of course, would love to get on the Suspiria 2018 discussion, which I missed out on. But I love that movie. If you didn't hear our top 10 from 2018, and especially like once a Blu-ray drops or whatever, and getting a hold of that and seeing it in some really good quality, I would be down, but I feel like we just kind of did it, so I wouldn't rush to do it, I guess.
Yeah. When I first read this question, my initial reaction was like, no, probably not, specifically because when we did the 2018 review, we kind of compared them, because you have to really when you're talking about like a remake.
You really do.
Yeah, we didn't like go like full on into it, but we definitely compared them. However, Justin, you didn't get a chance to. So mentioning that, Randy just took a swig straight from the bourbon bottle.
Straight from the bourbon bottle. Anyway, see it on YouTube.
Yeah. Anyway, I would be down. I really like the idea that you brought up of doing a poll pick where it's like where we review a movie and its remake. Yeah. That's a really good idea. I like that. As far as like,
I do too.
As far as me talking about the Blu-ray releases, I think Mikey brought that up specifically because I've got Suspiria, the original Suspiria, on Blu-ray, and it's loaded down, man. It's probably the most like impressive single Blu-ray release that I own. So talking about that, and then talking about the remake whenever I think that comes out this Tuesday, so it's about to come out. I would be more than happy to do that. And then maybe in some time in the near future we could do a proper episode where we compare the two. I don't know, Randy, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the idea of comparing a remake with its original is a great episode idea. So thanks for that. Not just necessarily for Suspiria, but for anything really. So I'd be open to that. In terms of Suspiria, I agree with Justin that it's too recent, and I'd probably let it sit for like a year maybe. But I'm open to it, and I think the comparison naturally happens when you review a remake of an original. So you kind of get that, but when you sort of make it your point, I think that can yield some interesting results. So, especially with a movie that has as much going on as both Suspirias do. Yeah. So I think that, and especially because like in a recent episode, I sort of like compared Suspiria, the original, favorably to the remake, whereas I gave them a review that doesn't reflect that. And I've been like kind of pondering both because of that. You kind of touched a nerve for me because it's something that's been on my mind because of those things. I think it's worth revisiting. And if not, then like it's certainly a good fucking episode idea. So if there's a franchise that has had remakes that you guys want us to review as a comparison, then let us know. Maybe we can work it in sometime. Yeah. Not right away, but at some point.
Yeah, that's a really solid idea. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Number 4 from Mikey. Do you prefer physical or digital media? If you say digital, please kill yourself.
Well, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing for me. I grew up and like, I was the big thing on like, I'm a big music guy and like CDs, and I love to buy CDs because I love to have those damn booklets. And like, so the visual aesthetic to go along with of like a musical project was like really important to me. But like even nowadays, like there aren't a whole lot of movies that I just want to see over and over and over again. Not even like horror included. Like I love to watch movies. I love to go to the movie theater. I love to talk about movies. I love to watch them. But there's just very few movies that I want to watch multiple times. And I don't prefer. It's even weird to me to think about buying like a digital copy of something. Like even that concept to me, honestly, is kind of personally strange. I stream everything, especially now. It's harder too because like I moved to Korea, so I had to like pack shit into a bag, and like I have to store it now in a smaller space and think about like taking it home eventually. But so I don't have like any DVDs with me here or Blu-ray or anything, but like even just the concepts now, I'm just like, it's all streaming. Like even if I'm going to watch something, I'm going to rent it for like $2 and stream it and be done with it, because chances are I'm not going to want to watch it again. And if I did, I'll spend another $2 like that. It's so rare for me to want to watch something so many times that I feel I need like a Blu-ray for it. So I'm nothing. Neither of those.
I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
I think that falls under digital, streaming digital. I think it
sure, yeah,
qualifies. Randy,
I mean that resonates with me. I think for me, I prefer to own a physical copy of things. Here's the thing: I have a problem with collecting. I was a Pokemon child. I wanted to collect them all. And I wanted everything. I wanted, like, if I get the first Criterion Collection DVD or Blu-ray, I'm going to want them all. And I don't have the money, the physical, like, space for it, or the, like, reasonable excuse for buying such things. I had to wean myself off of collecting those things. It is more than once I have had to purge stacks. Rob, stacks of DVDs from my collection, most of which have gotten 1 to 3 uses maximum. So like for like Justin's thing rings true. Like what he said, like having something for rent is more valuable to me in most cases. Now, on the occasion where there is a film that I will watch over and over again, or a film that I find like I just have to have it, I'll allow myself, but I have to be very careful because my completionist stance is my bent is so
it's that
so
Zelda
strong.
in you.
It is.
You know, you got to collect them.
100%. I want to get fucking game nuts. I want to have it all, and that's not possible in a world of actual media because actual media never stops being made and it never stops existing for the most part. So, I mean, for me, I'll put it this way. When we started doing this sort of traveling thing that we started doing, I got rid of 9/10 of my DVD and film collection. And what I didn't get rid of, I put in a giant binder of CD, DVD, like a binder like that. I got rid of cases. And that's about as much as I'm willing to do. Other than that, I have about 5 DVDs that actually still have their cases. And there are 5 movies that I hold in such esteem that they got through all of the cuts and they are my 5 DVDs. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what they are offhand?
House, there's Brazil.
Hasu. You mean Hasu?
Hasu. Yes, Hasu.
Nice choice, Randy.
Brazil, no, not Unbreakable. I think I did finally give up on Unbreakable. There's a few DVDs that are DVDs that I can't get other ways, like Everything is Terrible DVDs. Like the things that are only made in that way, or else piecemeal on the internet. Let's see.
Blood Rage.
Blood Rage, yeah, that's one. Blood Rage.
Fuck yeah.
Made in Jax.
So it's like important to me, and I went to the reveal party or whatever for that. So it's important to me in a way. And then Over the Garden Wall, which is one of my favorite pieces of animation I've ever seen in my life. So those are 4 of I said 5, but that was an estimate. It's probably more it's 5 to 7 maybe. And I can't think of them all, but yeah, I can't start collecting things or I won't stop. So the physical media that I do own is stuff that I treasure, and the stuff that I don't own is stuff that I'm trying out or stuff that I respect and like. I just can't. I'm a person. I'm not a receptacle for goods. I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bob, you don't like physical media, do you?
No,
I'm very much like Randy. Randy has that collector's mentality. I also have it. I always have had it. I've always been collecting something for better, or for worse. Usually for worse. I buy physical media. I'm way into it. I probably should be less into it.
I would say that I visit home about every 6 months, so big gaps, but still small enough to where you're up on everything. Every time I visit home, I'm always blown away at Rob's. I'm always oh my god. And then of course every 6 months it grows, obviously, because he's buying 2-3 movies a week or 10. And I'm just oh my god.
Rob has an amazing collection, but here's the thing: I used to have way more than he has right now, but he has actually taste and a sense of quality, which I did not bother myself with at all. So I understand, man. I definitely get it. You want to own it. You want to have it.
It's crazy.
I know that you can watch it forever.
It is a crazy thing that I understand I should probably not do, but I do. That's just, I don't know. That shit's in me for one reason or another. I don't know why, but it's in me. Yeah, I like it. We've got 3 more questions. Let's lightning round these, man.
Let's do it. Good idea.
Okay, so number 5 from Mikey. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Child's Play. If you could choose an entire collection to review as a whole, which one would you choose?
I would choose Halloween. I understand that series best, or I don't know if I understand it best. That's up to interpretation, but I have seen every movie within that collection, and I've seen them all multiple times. I'm prepared to have a serious conversation about fucking Cult of Thorn. So
me
let's
too.
Do it.
That's my answer as well. Halloween. If I had to say which one I enjoy the most from beginning to end in the entirety of the franchise, I'd go Friday the 13th. But as far as having a conversation, Halloween all the way.
Yeah.
There's not any of these franchises that I've seen every single movie in. I don't even know which one I've seen the most. I feel like it's pretty close between Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street, like pieced together. I would go Nightmare on Elm Street just because I think it would be the most fun, like the most wacky, as far as like reviews go. So yeah. I would pick Friday the 13th. I mean, no. I would pick Nightmare on Elm Street.
Gotcha. Cool. Number 6, any of you into horror-related anime? For example, Vampire Hunter D, Tokyo Ghoul, Death Note. I know nothing about anime.
I'm not an anime guy, man. I've tried it because it's such a big like thing, but it's just not my thing.
My God, there is no diversity among us. We might as well be the same person.
I'm not. I'm just not. I've tried.
I liked Halloween 2017. Guy. Oh, I didn't. Big differences. I am the same way. I'm not huge on anime. Cowboy Bebop is by far my favorite anime production of all time. Other than that, it's just Studio Ghibli stuff and the occasional oddball thing. I watched some Lupin the Third recently and enjoyed that. I never even really got into Attack on Titan, which is pretty universally loved. I like One Punch Man. It's pretty limited for me. So I'm not against anime. It's just not something that has ever really been strongly appealing to me. So
yeah, same. Last one from Mikey. What's your most anticipated movie from 2019?
Did he not listen to our 2018 top 10 episode, Mikey?
Mike,
it's kind of sounding like he didn't.
And
goddamn, I'm gonna go real quick and just say The Lighthouse because The Witch is just too damn good to not like. I'm really intrigued by that Hereditary follow-up or whatever, but The Lighthouse has got to take everything I've heard from it. I'm just like, I like that decision. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too. The Lighthouse. And then if I had to pick another one, it would be Jordan Peele's Us for sure.
Yeah.
Mine are both of those: The Lighthouse, Us, Avengers. Despite all things, to see how Avengers finally concludes because I'm a fan of that series.
You know it's not going to end, Randy.
Well, I am excited to see how the Avengers franchise closes up the Thanos problem. Let's put it that way. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is the new Tarantino that's coming out. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Addams Family animated. I'm really excited to see how they handle that in CG because I really like the style of the original comic strips and I like the 90s, movies and etc. that came out around that. And then Pet Sematary. So those are mine.
Good picks. So our last question to tackle here was submitted by good Sir Hydraberg. He says, reference a time where you were totally frustrated / astonished at another cast member for either rating a movie too high or way too low, and name the cast member and the film.
And shit on them.
Yeah, and then he goes on to give the example of Cesar giving Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 a 5 stars.
I mean, you might as well just ask what we thought about Cesar giving a 5 to that movie.
I mean, that has to be my pick. And if you listen to that episode, it's like clearly I'm just like I just have no understanding of the situation. It's like
Where am I?
Well, it wasn't just that. It's like I thought you took these ratings seriously. Not even in a pretentious kind of way, but just like, man, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, that literally is the only other thing I can reference, and we talked about a little bit more, is like the Sleepaway Camp, and it makes a little more sense to me now because like of Rob's taste over time, and I'm like, okay, this is what Rob likes. It's dumb, but that's what he likes. But with Cesar, it literally made no sense to me, and it still makes no sense. Like, why would you give that movie a 5 star? It doesn't, under any kind of logic, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to compete with that. And other than that, like, there's really just a general feeling that occasionally, especially when we were picking our own films, that people would be skewed towards their own films, and then whether or not you're interested in a film on a certain night might have a significant say on it. Back when we were doing things all on the same night, watching a movie together and then reviewing it, which isn't always the case anymore. Like that can skew things. So, but in terms of a direct correlation, yeah, I mean, he nailed it. Heidelberg called him out. Like Cesar's 5-star doesn't make sense for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 any more than anything else. Like I love Silent Night, Deadly Night, and I am way too generous to Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And I believe I gave that movie a 3 or right around there or something. Like that is.
It's generous.
That is more than it deserves.
Yeah.
Certainly. So like what it deserves is to be maligned for like an absolute money grab in the worst sense of the word, but it's so blatant and bald-faced that it's almost endearing. It's like you guys are scamps. What are you even trying to do? Like I don't know. I think you can't get a better example than that for us.
Yeah, the only other thing, Sleepaway Camp, which I mentioned, but on the opposite end of the scale, like I was like, why did Raul rate this movie so high? The only other thing that really cracks me up that I don't think is deserved, but it's not as extreme, is Rob hating Creep. I think that shit is hilarious. He gives it 0.5, and I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think it's a 5-star movie. It just, I don't think it deserves a 0.5, and I think it is hilarious that Rob thinks that is the worst dog shit movie of like, I love it.
I think a good case, though.
I mean, and that's why it's like number 3 or number, it's not top, but I like on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm just like,
it's a mediocre movie.
Not as, it's medium. It's hard to defend because I don't care because it doesn't fucking matter because it's such a regular movie. But it's 0.5 is like
the range of that movie should be 2 to 4, like out of 5.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That movie's dog shit.
I agree. So that's the only other one.
Like your personal taste, I could see people giving that a 4. I don't see people giving it a 5 really, or not that many. But I think the average should be somewhere in there.
That's the only other one that comes to mind.
The only one that I would like to offer up that hasn't been mentioned already is, our good boy Rick Ross. He was a little buzzed when we were talking about Krampus, but he gave it a 1 star.
He
gave it a 1 star. That's not fair.
Especially because he was talking about how good it was, or like the good element. That is a good mention, though. Yeah. Solid 1 star.
That's another classic episode. If you haven't listened to that, go listen to our Krampus show. It's a good time.
Shit. That is quite the shit show.
It's a good
time. If you like listening to drunk assholes be drunk assholes, which, I mean, if you made it this far, fuck it.
Yeah. Randy drinking straight from the goddamn
to the face.
I'm already out of soju. Damn.
That's very funny. Okay. So yeah, that's the last question that we had to answer. Just real quick, thanks for everybody that did submit questions for our Q&A segment. We definitely appreciate you guys sending all your stuff in. That went longer than I anticipated for sure. So let's real quick, let's listen to our last little clip that was sent in. So this one comes from Nicole, who is also a native Floridian. She's got her own podcast as well, Chiaroscuro. She's got a blog. Definitely check all of her stuff out. And real quick,
she's got a new podcast as well, right? The Disney.
That's right. Yeah,
Disney
she does.
Natives.
Yeah. She does.
She's a big Disney fan.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and hear what Nicole has to say.
Hey guys, it's Nicole from Chiaroscuro Horror Podcast here. I first discovered Straight Chilling while searching for a discussion about Ex Machina a couple of years ago. This was back when they all sat around a computer and the audio quality wasn't the greatest. In spite of that, I really enjoyed the interaction. As I recall, Bob was very upset about something in the plot and he could just not let it go, and I've been listening since then. The guys have been kind enough to let me be a guest a couple times, even though I had never done a podcast at the time, and I'm sure I sound like a complete dork on those episodes. But that experience has encouraged me in my journey to create my own podcast, which is now in its 3rd episode. So you can check out Chiaroscuro Horror Podcast each month for commentary on horror and film and culture. That's my shameless plug. Anyway, to Bob, Randy, Juice, and all the others who have come and gone along the way, I really want to say that I appreciate and enjoy the chemistry between you group of horror nerds. You each bring a unique perspective and you make us all feel like we're your friends too. So in honor of the 200th episode, I just want to say congratulations and don't forget to keep chillin'. Oh, also, Is it time to resurrect Screamin' and Creamin' for this episode? Because I think it is. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks for sending that in. We really appreciate it. Nicole and her husband David, they made the trip up a couple times to guest on some of our podcasts in the past, and super cool people. And it's I love, like, Nicole has always been waving that Screamin' and Creamin' flag. Like,
yeah, she has.
She's always been a fan of it, and I love that. And it's I'm gonna hand it over to you, Justin. Screamin' and Creamin' was always Justin's thing. Why don't you tell, like, if you have no idea what Screamin' and Creamin' is, clarify what it is, and give Nicole what she wants.
Yeah, so special request from Nicole, and just real shot, like, it's kind of like Nicole, like, it's really endearing to hear, because Ex Machina was like so long ago, and at this point we've been doing this for like 4.5 years now.
Oh my
and
God.
Like, just to think about, like, Nicole, it's like, oh, she's like a friend, like Nicole is just like our friend, but like, to think about, like, yeah, we wouldn't have met her like through the podcast, and she's like such a great person, and she, like, and it's just so strange to think back, like, oh my God, like the time it's been and how it all came about. So we love Nicole. Definitely check out her podcast. But yeah, so Screamin' and Creamin', back in the day, man, we used to all get together either at the twins' place, the OGs, or at Rob and Randy's place, and watch a movie all together. So we would watch it all together and then cast about it as soon as we were done watching the movie. So it was like a 3-hour, 4-hour event every like Wednesday or whatever we did it. And near their neighborhood, like in their neighborhood, was the Dreamette, which was a just little local place that just made some baller ass cheap ice cream that we go again.
Soft serve.
Yes, and then every now and then, though, too, is also if you've ever been to Florida, there is Publix supermarket, and they make these like custom ice creams, and I'm just like, I really like ice cream. So my whole thing was like, every time we cast is like, since we're watching the movie together, is like, I bring the ice cream. And so we did a Screamin' and Creamin' segment where I would talk about what ice cream did I watch tonight, and I try to like go through the whole menu of the Dreamette, and then go through like all the custom and like seasonal ones of Publix. So we cut that off after 100 because there's only so many creams you can eat. Like, there's only so much. It ended with a ice cream cake, but we're bringing it back tonight. Special request from Nicole. Me and Randy have some Screamin' and Creamin'. We sought out some cream for this week. I am in Korea, so it's a little different out here, but I've talked about it a couple of times. One thing that is some hot shit out here in Korea is these waffle ice cream sandwiches, and they are fucking dope. So I'll start with, they make these custom waffles, and they're not like the big ass like fluffy kinds where they're like super deep, the deep like pools in them, but they're kind of like more like thinner, crispier, but like the batter has like this hint of like cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla. So like the outside, it's essentially becomes a taco because they like split it in half, and it's like, it's not like super toasted, but it's not super soft either. So it's pretty perfect, like in the texture of the waffle outside. The one that I got this week, on the inside of that waffle taco, they put Nutella on the inside, so that's fucking delicious. So it's just like lined with Nutella on the inside. I got the vanilla ice cream, which in Korea is like the best damn vanilla ice cream I've had. I think it's because the milk difference out here. Every advertisement for any ice cream place
human
out here,
milk.
well, it says organic, so I'm not sure like what the big difference is, but it's like, it's really delicious. And then I got the Oreo cookie crumble like mixed in or whatever. So that was my Screamin' and Creamin' of the week. It's absolutely delicious. It's humongous. I'll post a picture up on the Instagram of it. I took a picture specifically for Nicole, but that's my Screamin' and Creamin' this week. I specifically sought it out, and that is some hot shit in Korea right now.
Yeah, so I mean, if in a similar vein, I have not participated in Screamin' and Creamin' because that was sort of Juice's thing back when it was in functionality. Juiced-in. But that being said, he's in Korea now, and he has sort of semi-limited options. It's like, at least by his report. So in my travels, I've actually come across a few local brands that I want to go ahead and shout out since we've got the opportunity. First off, in DC, there's a ice cream shop or an ice cream conglomerate, whatever, a group of people making ice cream called Ginny's Ice Cream, which make a great number of different ice creams. And if you get a chance to go to DC, I would recommend those. Just hop into their store. They have a few storefronts, at least the one. I have not been to more than one, but I think there's more than one. And they have tons of different options, and it's all very like, it's very, very liberal. It's very organic and fucking all that shit. So go there if you want. Here in Santa Barbara, where I am now, there is a company called McConnell's. And they've been around for a while, and we've been like eating the shit out of McConnell's since we've been here. There's a few different specific flavors that I would highly recommend. If you get a chance to come out here, there's the whiskey praline. That's my number one. Whiskey praline.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, they have some sort of like unassuming flavors that you wouldn't expect. I've heard tale that their olive oil flavored ice cream is great, but I have not tried it because that does not sound great to me. I will try it and I will report back if there's interest. But this fucking whiskey praline is so good. It's like got caramel, it's got the praline, it's got pecans, it's got a whiskey flavor, and depending on at what point, it's hard scoop. So depending at what point down the bucket of ice cream you go, it could taste more or less like whiskey. I've noticed this because I eat it so fucking much. There's that. They also have like an Earl Grey and buttered biscuit flavored, which is way better than it sounds.
Damn.
It's fucking delicious. There's a cardamom and ginger that was seasonal. I think they just stopped serving. It was so good. Fucking McConnell's, man, it's good shit. And they have a few shops here in Santa Barbara. But their ice cream goes out sort of regionally. They also have here in Santa Barbara. There's a place called Mission Street Ice Cream that serves their ice cream, and they serve a hell of a lot more, better bang for your buck. So if you're in the area, go there. There's also a bunch of pictures of all the celebrities that have been there. It's fucking crazy. Fucking like Taylor Swift and shit have been there. It's crazy. So there, go. It's great. Fucking McConnell's whiskey praline. Get your shit. I'm gonna drink some whiskey for real now.
Do it straight from the bottle. There it is again. YouTube.
Cool. Screaming and creaming. Thanks, fellas. I don't really eat ice cream that often. I need to rearrange my priorities, obviously. So I don't have much to contribute here. So sorry. But let's go ahead and get into the next segment. So this one's going to be Justin's little game here that we are tentatively calling Know Your Crew.
Know ya, boo.
I'm calling it. Who talking now?
So all those.
Yeah, this is Know Ya Boo, and essentially I sent out some questions for the crew to answer, and we will try to guess each other's answers. So it's just 4 questions, so we'll try to go through it pretty quick. I know this episode is running a little long, but so the first question that we're going to guess, it's going to be like our new Rotten Tomatoes segment, is what it's that I spelled it wrong. I said was, but what is your favorite decade of horror? So what is your favorite decade of horror is what we're all going to guess. So let's start. I'm assuming everybody has their answers, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Everybody has their answers, and let's do me and Bob. Let's try to guess Randy's answer first. So what do you think, Bob, is Randy's favorite decade of horror?
For Randy, I think it's the 80s.
The 80s, I'll say...
Dead air.
The 90s.
Okay.
The 90s.
The 90s.
Okay.
It's the 80s.
Okay. I wanted to try to be different. I thought that would be it, but I knew like Puppet Master and like I don't know.
That's
There were
89.
a couple.
That's 89.
Oh, it is.
But,
shit. Well, then I fucked myself. Okay.
But here's the thing. Like I never give a straightforward answer ever. It's 80s in interest of making your game work. But if I was to actually pick a 10-year period, I chose 1975 to 1985.
Okay.
Because it has Evil Dead 1 and 2, it has Sleepaway Camp, it has Videodrome, The Thing,
Halloween.
it has all of the slashers, it has Poltergeist, The Fly. In the 70s section, it has Jaws, Halloween, The Exorcist,
Yeah, almost
Eraserhead,
70s too.
Body Snatchers, fucking Body Snatchers
yeah.
with Donald Sutherland, fucking Hausu. It's all there. So like that's my personal preference, and it's subject to change because Lord knows every period has their clunkers and their winners. But
Sure.
when going through sort of like the top tier releases for those sections, 75 to 85 for me, but 80s is more apt to our game.
Okay. So let's do Bob's now, which I feel like I'm going to pick 80s for Bob. Favorite decade. Randy, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think it can be anything else really for Bob. if it's not 80s, I got to think 90s for Rob.
Don't box me.
I'm boxing you.
What is
it?
it?
2010s,
Rob, is it? What is it?
Yeah, it's the 80s. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is just an exercise in us agreeing, basically.
Well, okay. I'm gonna try to. I think my answers are gonna be hard for you guys to predict.
For Justin,
I wasn't trying to be like
elusive.
These are my honest answers. Like when I was like answering these questions, I feel like they're honest, but they're not something I specifically talk about a whole lot.
The
So we'll see.
1910s.
Before we started this game, I figured Randy would be 80s, but Justin, I think you're the 70s.
Okay.
I almost went 70s.
Why do you think that, Bob?
I know how much you dig Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
And the 70s, like, as a decade, is just more akin to that, like, grimy, grounded sort of aesthetic, where the 80s is a little more, like, slapsticky, crazy, you know? Yeah. So, yeah,
Randy,
70s.
you agree?
And I'm going to do a divide and conquer thing here. I kind of think Rob's onto something there, but I also think the 90s, because it's where you were formed, you were molded by it, as Kate might say.
Molded. You know how much I love 13 Ghosts, Randy.
I sure do. You love 13 Ghosts, and you also like love Scream. Like there's a number
good choices. Yeah,
there's a number of films that I know that you love from the 90s, which is kind of unfair because we all love movies from all these decades.
Yeah.
Sure.
But in an interest of divide and conquer, I'll go 90s, Rob will go 70s, and if you're 80s, we're all going to hurt you.
So, no, neither of you are right, and this is an honest opinion. I'm not trying to be like contrary or anything like that. Dude, I legit going through the list of numbers and just overall movies. I'm going with 2010s, and I know that's I know that's a taboo thing to say, dude. The Renaissance is fucking real, dude. It's fucking real. And let me just go through some of the top like horror movies of the 2010s, and like of course there's the classics from the 70s. You're right. Like I love Texas Chainsaw, I love Scream and stuff like that. But I feel like the overall quantity of quality movies in the 2010s is so hard to ignore. You're talking like The Conjuring, It Follows, Cabin in the Woods, The Babadook, Get Out, Insidious, The Fucking Witch, which I think is like my number one horror movie now. You're Next, Sinister, The Green Room, A Quiet Place, Hereditary. I mean, the list is so fucking long of quality, like so. Train to Busan, The Wailing, which is now one of my like top 10 horror movies. Like The Invitation. The list is so long of like amazing horror movies. 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's just it's hard to ignore for me. And just like out of overall enjoyment, I know it's taboo because like the classics and shit like that, but I gotta go with 2010s.
I mean, I don't blame you, but I am going to say that I made a similar list for the 80s, and I also made a similar list for the 70s.
Yeah.
So like if you go through, that's the thing is like it's almost like, do you like good movies? Try and count how many there are in each.
Yeah. Like and that's the thing. Like I think it's just like
it's
overall
arbitrary kind of.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. If you like, I love Babadook. I love Train to Busan. I fucking Love The Witch. I love all those movies. And I think you're right. I fucking Get Out. Like those movies are fucking amazing. But there's amazing movies in every decade. So it's almost like a moot point to even delineate things that way. It's like movies are either fucking amazing, they're pretty good, they're okay, or they're the rest. Like that's where we're at. Or they're the fucking shits, which is where Blood Wars goes. Underworld Blood Wars.
Blood farts.
Underworld Blood farts.
So let's go around and see. The next question is number 2. Your favorite cooter you love to hate. Your favorite cooter that you love to hate. So essentially it's kind of like your favorite cooter.
Mm-hmm. Here's the issue with that. Well, is it like, because you said love to hate, I had a little issue with this.
Okay.
You know, not just in terms of like being able to specify. So like, first of all, there's some obvious answers. To me, like Jeremiah Sand is the obvious answer, but we just went over him and I didn't want to focus too much attention on him. And Lola and the Loved Ones, sort of the same thing, just not as funny as Jeremiah Sand. So like Lola from the Loved Ones, I should say. So I tried to pick some things that we had not spoken about in a while. And I would say that I loved hating.
Hang on. Well, don't tell us. We have to guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it's a guessing game, Randy.
I'm sorry.
So see, I understand like your point. I had a so let's guess for Randy since he's about to give it away.
Yeah, I just told you what it's not. So tell me what it is.
So I think Randy's is Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, that's a good guess.
That was my guess because I know how much he loves that movie, and that dude like held the top cooter spot for a hot minute.
That's a good guess. I think I'm going to go with Brad from Night of the Creeps for Randy.
Brad.
Yeah.
That's a bold guess, Bob, and I appreciate it, but it is not the truth. Oren Scrivello from Little Shop, that is not that is not that is not my number one, excluding Jeremiah Sand and Lola.
Okay.
But it is as close, it is written down, which means it's as close as you can get. It's my runner up. So the number one do I love to hate? That's what I was going off of when I chose this. The person I love to hate is Jeremy Armitage from Get Out, which is the son, the younger
good choice.
That fucking guy can eat all of my shit. That guy doesn't get enough screen time to really nail it. As far as I'm concerned, I think that I would have liked to have seen more just so I could hate him more. But like, if I'm going for the non-obvious response, that's my first thought is Jeremy Armitage, because he is so fucking terrible. He's so like disgusting, and everything he says is just shrouded in superiority and this desire to see somebody fail. It's everything that you want out of a cooter and more, because I hate it more than most.
And that's the one who didn't like, that was before the profile started, but that's a good throwback.
Yeah. For me, that works. So
good choice.
All right, Randy, let's guess Bob's favorite cooter.
Well, I think Bradster is a pretty good choice.
That was my choice too. I thought Rob really likes those like kind of, like goofy, schlocky kind of movies.
That's not
or
a bad choice either, because he is very much smarmy. He's very much. I don't know. I don't want to focus too much on him and discount other players, but that, because he brought that up, that almost solidified my choice.
Me too. Yeah. And that was already my choice too, because I know, like, I don't know, that just kind of fits Bob's profile. But so that's, I guess, Brad as well.
So we'll go with Bradster. Rob, what do you think?
You guys are going to be kicking yourself in the ass.
Oh.
My number one favorite cooter to hate, I got to go with Joseph from Creep. Fucking Mark Duplass. I hate that character.
You focused on the hate too.
Like, but I do hate that character, but I enjoy hating that character.
Mark Duplass. Mark Duplass, the actor. I mean, character.
No, Joseph, the character. I also like hate the protagonist, which I forget his name too. I just hate that movie. It's a terrible movie. It's bullshit.
It's a tough question to answer because it includes the word hate. You love to hate. That's such a contradiction.
It is.
True,
Yeah, but like,
it's interesting. Ew.
Mark, I just like, he's just, somebody hit him in the face. Like the whole time I watched that movie, just like hit that dude in the face and then get in your car and drive away. And then that's the end of the fucking movie.
That's a good, yeah.
God
I can't
damn
believe
it.
we missed out on that one. You're right.
Creep 2, pretty good though.
Actually, yeah,
Good.
I kind of like Creep 2. I don't know. I can't
Creep 2 is
explain.
pretty good. I'm actually shocked that you feel that way, but when you told me that, I was like, good, because it's not that bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
All right, boys. Who do you think is my favorite Cooter to hate? My favorite.
Okay, so
It's got to be Jeremiah Sand.
Yeah, it's too
gotta
obvious, but Jeremiah
I feel
Sand,
like, I almost like think that you wouldn't choose that for the same reason I didn't, because it's too obvious. But I don't know who the secondary would be. So Jeremiah.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He's too good not to pick. He's too good not to pick.
He's so much fun to hate because he's
good,
so loathsome
and also he's the villain, and he has like, as a Cooter, I don't know if any other Cooter has an arc quite like Jeremiah has. I love when he breaks down at the end of Mandy, like when he drops the accent, when he's like begging for his life, when he's offering to suck some dude's dick, like that. Like he is the fucking best Cooter I've ever seen in my goddamn life. I could never not pick until somebody else comes along.
Honestly, like
I can't not fucking pick up.
The honest truth is that is the only answer, and like he is the proto Cooter. There's no options beyond him unless you specifically set him aside. So I can't blame you, but at the same time, it's like, man, how do you even have this as a game if you don't discount him? Like,
well, know you boo, so let's go around, and next question is your favorite Scream Queen, your number one favorite Scream Queen. Bruce Willis. We'll start with
first. Did you say Bruce Willis?
Who? I thought you said.
I heard Bruce Willis too. Yeah.
I'm drunk, so I'm slurring into popular celebrities' names.
Let's guess for Randy. Actually, you guys are gonna have.
I have a top three. I'm gonna say that I have a top.
Okay, you have a top three. You're gonna have to help me with this because I'm terrible with names. My guess is what's her Quigley? What's her name?
Linnea Quigley.
Yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess for Randy.
Linnea Quigley. Okay,
good guess. Bob? I'm gonna go with Jamie Lee Curtis.
You guys fucking nailed me. Jamie Lee Curtis is my one. Like, I don't know how you get anything else, to be honest. Like, to me, like, the reason she is like noted with every Scream Queen is because she is the Scream Queen for today's age, until like we hit 50 years on and there's some like a whole batch of other people that we don't know.
Yeah.
She's the one. And Linnea is, to me, like, she's the sweetheart. Like, she's the person that was in so many of my favorite movies, for not necessarily the like movies that I like for because they're terrible or because they're good. It doesn't matter. Like, I love what she does. She made a career out of it. I respect the fuck out of that. I love the fucking Linnea Quigley Scream Queen workout shit that she did. And then like the one person that you guys didn't mention on my top three is Danielle Harris, who I fucking love. I actually really like Halloween 4, and I'm pretty okay with Halloween 5. But beyond that, like when she like became an adult, basically, I saw her on Boy Meets World. She was on an episode of that, and she was like it was like a Halloween episode where there was like, oh, is there a murderer? It was like a dream sequence or something. And she was suspected to be the murderer, but she was fucking like, she was a celebrity crush for me when I was in high school.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like she has a special place in my heart for that. And then she kept like doing horror shit, and I like it and I respect it. So she's on my number 3. But Jamie Lee Curtis, Linnea Quigley, Danielle Harris, those are my top 3 Scream Queens.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Nice.
Let's guess for Bob. I think this is going to be the Jamie Lee Curtis. I think it's impossible not to be.
It's tough, man. It's tough to say anything else, but I feel like Rob is going to skew us. I think he's going to...
Nah, he's going to fuck us, huh?
I think he might fuck us. I don't know. I think out of respect for a person who made their career doing just Scream Queen as opposed to somebody like the way I like Linnea Quigley.
Yeah.
Curtis obviously transcended in some capacity. She went to different categories or different genres of movie. So you can say Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think you have a fair chance of being right, but I'm going to also say Linnea Quigley.
Okay.
You're both incorrect.
Oh, no, you boo. What you got, Bob?
I think her name's Barbara. Barbara Crampton.
Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's Barbara or it's Linnea or it's Jamie, honestly.
Yeah.
Danielle is a dark horse for me.
I don't even know that Danielle's a dark horse. I think that's a solid pick, actually. But for me, Barbara Crampton.
Out of the four.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Barbara Crampton with all the great stuff she did in the 80s, and then she came back in the early 2000s with You're Next, and
she's still doing stuff.
Yeah, and
Puppet Master, she was great in that.
Specifically when she came back and did You're Next, she had totally retired from acting, and when she did come back, she said outright that she dedicated herself to the horror genre after doing You're Next, and she's just waving the horror flag, man. And all the stuff she did in the 80s is great, but I just what really made me pick her out of all the other obvious choices is the fact that she's still doing it full force and still waving that flag, and she's so dedicated and just leaning into the horror community and making great movies. Even now, I don't know, man. I'm all in for the Crampton. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis, Linnea Quigley, fantastic. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Barbara Crampton. It's my choice. Yeah.
All right,
that's a good choice,
all right,
man.
Boys.
It's a pretty good choice.
Lock down the juice. What you got?
So
here you go. I picked 3 because I know I can be obscure sometimes. I picked 3.
Okay.
So you have a decent shot of hitting it. Well, I don't know. But also remember, I think outside the box a little bit.
Outside the box. Okay, you're giving it as a hint.
Well, yeah. Now I don't think I'm right because you said that.
my first thought would have been Nev Campbell.
That's what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That would have been my first choice. But you said think outside the box. I don't know for sure that really fits outside the box because it's a scream queen in the classical sense. So I don't know. Beyond that, Sigourney Weaver, maybe.
Heather Langenkamp, maybe.
No, she's a pretty traditional scream queen.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's outside of the box. Maybe I'm fucked because I thought that fucking. I don't know. I thought that. I don't know. I don't have a lot of.
You go with Neve, I'll go with Heather, and we'll see where we're at.
No. I'm gonna say what's her fucking name from what's the woman from A Quiet Place? Emily Blunt. I'm gonna say Emily Blunt because she is modern. She's a modern scream queen, and she did I considered her because she did such a great job with that birthing scene in fucking A Quiet Place, which isn't my favorite movie, but that is definitely the most effective scene.
It's a great scene.
So
you know what? I'm gonna swerve. You go with her. I'll go with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Okay, right.
Bob with this double swerve. So Bob's gonna take it on 2 counts because I did 3. I put Chloe on there.
Nice.
I also put Heather because I was like, well, if we're going to talk about traditional, I didn't want it to be, I wanted to have one option for the traditional. So I put Heather on there as Nancy. And the last one, which I was like, well, that's why I picked 3 was Anya Taylor-Joy or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Modern scream queens. And the thing about Anya Taylor-Joy and Chloe Moretz, I really respect them because in the same kind of thing you were saying, they're waving the horror flag, these young, beautiful, up and coming actresses, I love that they seem to be dedicated, not oh, we're only going to do horror, but they're so proud to be in these movies and elevate them to the level, they're they don't seem, especially for young up and coming actresses, they don't seem to shun it away, oh, don't associate, some actresses were what was that fucking, Texas Chainsaw 4 or whatever that chick's name, people who are ashamed that they came up in horror, these girls, yeah,
talking about Renee Zellweger.
But like some women who like get into horror because it's an easy way into the industry, and then they're like ashamed of it. Like I love that these women are now like so popular and huge up and coming actresses, and they're like still like continuing to be in these movies and elevate them to like a higher status. So I really respect that and appreciate that. But if we're talking in a classical sense, just from a character standpoint, like fucking Nancy's a badass, man. Like of all the scream queens, like in that first, like I mean, like going in and like getting Freddy, like nobody fucking believes her dad's a cop. Like I mean, she's so fucking badass. So that was like my classical kind of choice, just and from a character, not as like a person standpoint or what she's done with her career, but just as a like a character standpoint.
See, I almost split this category up between like roles, like Laurie Strode as a role, versus careers, which Linnea has a career. I almost did that, but yeah, it's a tough question, but I think all the women we mentioned work for sure.
Two, he mentioned 2 out of my 3.
I am shocked about that, by the way, but yeah, all good choices, all around, all good choices.
Yeah. All right, so let's go question number 4: favorite horror franchise. So I feel like Bob's gonna be a lock, but I'm a little I don't know about Randy, so let's start with Randy, I guess. So Bob, what do you think is Randy's favorite horror franchise?
I'm going with Evil Dead for Randy.
Okay, I was gonna pick Friday the 13th. Okay. I'm gonna pick Friday the 13th for Randy as a horror franchise. Randy, are we so wrong?
See, that's the difference between a dude you know and the best man right there. Evil Dead, man. Evil Dead. That is the series for me. Like, I understand why you would go to Friday the 13th, and I certainly have love for that series. But even within the realm of slashers, I think that Nightmare is preferable to me because I like the not absurdist, but the sort of dreamlike qualities in general. Like the ability to sort of do anything with your visuals. But as far as actual horror franchises, Evil Dead has Evil Dead 1. It has Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. There's fucking Army of Darkness. There's The Evil Dead in the 2000s. And there's fucking
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
3 glorious seasons.
See, here's the thing. All of those are good. Can you think of a horror franchise where all of their entries are good? That is the only series I can think of where that's the case. And not only that, but it was one of my entry level fucking horror franchises. I watched every fucking movie in that franchise that existed at the time in a single night. And I think that's really, like, as much as I liked horror and I was interested in horror, that's what solidified me as a horror fan. So in a personal sense and a objective sense, all of those things, I think Evil Dead is the winner. Halloween is a close second, but it actually has some movies in it that I think are fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
So it can't win for me. Like, if I'm being at that point, I have to be objective in terms of numbers. How many movies do I like versus how many I don't? I like everything in the Evil Dead series. I like it all.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. We got a guess for Rob, Randy. I guess Randy.
It's Halloween, man.
Yeah, it is Halloween.
If it's not Halloween, then honestly, I don't think that he would have the stomach to say anything but Halloween.
Yeah.
And if he does, shock me and tell me I'm wrong. But I think that it's Halloween series.
Rob, is it Halloween series?
It's not. No. And
my God.
And I'm not doing this to like trick you guys or anything. Like, that was for sure an option that came up. So, like, if I have to pick franchise, I'm gonna go with Scream.
Is it Scream?
Yeah. I'm going with Scream. That's my favorite franchise, man. It's the only movie in Scream to me that I don't absolutely love is number 3. 1, 2, and 4. I fucking love those movies.
You like 4 more than 3. Interesting.
I like it a lot more than 3. Like,
I agree. Yeah, 3 is kind of dog.
I might have to rewatch 4 because 4 did not leave very much of an impression on me.
Really, 3 is not good.
I love Halloween.
Well, I don't argue with that really.
Yeah.
But I love Halloween for sure, but they're like Resurrection is unwatchable. H2O is fine. Part 6 is fine. the Rob Zombie movies are dog shit. Like there, there's a lot of bad stuff going on in there. But as far as like Scream goes, I love 3 out of the 4 movies. That franchise is fucking incredible. The original Scream is just by far one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch it any day, every day. I fucking love that movie, man. So I'm going with Scream. Yeah.
That's all right, boys.
All right. Well, we fucked up, but I like that answer. That's a sound answer.
Yeah.
Juice, what about you? What are we going to do with that Juice,
boys.
Bobby?
See, go ahead.
I mean, for my money, I got to think I'm going experiential with Juice. And I think that, like, as much as he probably doesn't love every entry in the series, I think that there is a nostalgia and a love for a specific series called Saw. I
appreciate that guess. I appreciate
that guess as well. That was such a college.
I think that's definitely a wrong answer based on your response, but I feel pretty confident that it's near and dear to your heart in some capacity.
It is. It's a good guess.
It's
Rob.
It's hard to pick, honestly. I'm gonna go.
I'm not as open as you guys. Keep it all close to the chest.
God, you love the fountain. You're just the fountain. You love the fountain. You know it.
There's a few ways you could go. I love that Randy picked Saw. That's fucking great. I'm gonna go
like that pick too.
A little more like classic, and I think I'm gonna go. I don't know if it's right, but I'm gonna go with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay. Yep, both wrong. I also too, and I was kind of surprised, but I picked Scream too. I picked Scream as well.
Shit. Wow.
I did. And for the exact same reason, like I wrote it down. I was like, Scream 1, 2, and 4 are all really enjoyable films that, like, for the most part, I will never just be like, no, I don't want to watch these movies. 3 is really bad. But when you're looking at like a series, same thing you said, like when you're like comparing and like how many are in this series, like I love that they haven't run it through the ringer. That for fucking Lillard, man, you know how much I fucking love Lillard.
Yeah.
Lillard.
One movie.
Well, I know, so but still, it really is. And it's just, I had to pick Scream just like numbers wise and like just like my enjoyment. I could throw almost like 75% of Scream movies on at any time and enjoy them. And that's a solid percentage. So yeah, I went with Scream.
Yeah. And I have such a distinct memory of my mother conning me into watching that original Scream movie. She rented it from Blockbuster. My dad hates horror movies, and she like talked me into watching it with her. It scared the shit out of me. I hated it at the time, but it's like, I fucking love it. It's so good. Anyway.
All right. Well, that's No You Boo.
Yep. No You Boo.
It seems like Rob is the best friend out of all of us.
We're terrible friends.
I'm a really good listener.
Here's a thing that's going to happen. I'm going to go use the restroom.
Do it.
Yeah, we've been drinking.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got one more game left in the show. This is going to be the longest show we've ever done.
I know. We were blown away when our top 10 of 2018 was long.
Yeah, that breached 3 hours. I think that was like 3 hours, 15 minutes. This is going to be longer.
Here's the thing. When I laid this out for Rob, he also wanted to review a movie. And I was like, Rob, it's going to be too long.
No, well, that was before we like locked all the stuff down.
Yeah.
Like, that was before
but
that.
Still, like even if you cut out 1 or 2 segments, it would have been long.
I guess, yeah. And also at that time, we didn't have all the questions in. So like we got more and more questions.
That's true. We did get a lot of questions, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got another segment, another game that we want to play. This is the last game of the show. It's tentatively going to be referred to as "Who Said That?" That's the working title. So like I've said before, I've gone back through the past 100 episodes. So on episode 100, I did something similar where I went back through all the previous episodes and I like found clips and extracted them and made like a clip reel. So I did that exact same thing for episode 200. I went through episode 101 through 199 and I chose choice clips and cut them out and compiled a clip reel that's going to be played after this game. But while I was doing that, I heard a lot of crazy shit that we said, and I thought, maybe we can try and guess who said what. So I've got a few choice quotes here that I'm going to blast through, and
Who talking?
Randy and Justin's going to try and guess who talking exactly. So here we go. Let's get into it. First one I got. Here we go. Who said, "Can we go ahead and sell out"?
Randy.
I think that's definitely me.
Randy.
I honestly, the only thing that gives me pause is that I think it's an assumed thing that we already sold out. So
We've nothing to sell.
yeah, that's the problem with selling out at this level.
You're also both wrong. It was Justin.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm also willing to sell my soul. So,
Not much there.
what are our options here?
Okay, yeah, I should have started with that. You're right. So we've got Justin, Andy, Cesar, and myself.
And Bob. Okay.
Just
okay.
those four. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We can do that.
So no guest or anything. Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, there.
Just the four. Next one. You spit Coke on my face.
Rob. I'm gonna say
Rob.
Bob got Coke spat on his face.
Yeah, he did. That sounds like a Rob situation.
That is 100% correct. I said that.
Who spat on your face?
Randy.
Yeah,
It's
Randy.
fucking Randy.
dude. God damn
The
it.
spit take king of America, Randy. This motherfucker will spit some shit
I want
on you.
I want it known that this fucking podcast and its website and all that shit is on my fucking resume and it's on my website, which means all future employees know that I spat on your face.
You did.
Good.
Bullet for me.
Finish that bottle, guy. Holy
To the
Jesus.
face.
Holy shit.
Next up, who said, "I like Limp Bizkit unironically"?
It's either me or Rob. God damn it. No, maybe it's old Bish. Maybe it's old Bish. No.
I think it's juice.
Yeah, it probably is me. It could be Rob. It's me.
It's Cesar.
It was old Bish. Okay, God, I thought.
It's Cesar,
I
yeah.
think because I brought up a video of theirs that was horror themed, and I think he said, "I like Limp Bizkit," unironically. It's weird that I remember that.
That's sad for all.
Also, just to be
That's
clear,
sad. I'm so glad I was not a consideration.
Yeah, so
for that.
three out of the four members of Straight Chillin' like Limp Bizkit unironically.
The Matthews Bridge,
Yeah.
man. I don't want any of that shit.
it's got a
Only
soft
Rand.
spot in my heart. I know. It is
It's just
what
one of
it
those
is,
days.
but yeah,
It's just one of those days.
it is.
Fuck
Gee.
you guys.
Next up, who said, "I got massacred and all I got was this ripped up t-shirt"?
That sounds like Randy.
That feels like me.
Yeah, it's Randy. It's
Hey, I didn't get a t-shirt. Let's clear things up now. If I run for office, don't assume I got a t-shirt. I did not.
Next one we got, who said it's a turd wrapped in a shit covered in diarrhea?
Bob has this obsession with doo-doo.
I don't know if it's
That's
an
a great guess.
obsession.
Oh, it's an obsession.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody's disputing that but you. That means it's an obsession. Yeah, Rob, sure.
It was Randy. That was all Randy.
I'm
I'm that vulgar. That makes sense. Okay.
thought Rob's doo-doo obsession would hold true.
It's not an
I
obsession.
don't want to guess myself for every answer. I'm not a fucking sociopath.
Not yet. Next up, who said he's out there doing hookers and banging blow?
Yeah, boy, Soju.
It's so
That was like 2 episodes ago.
I don't remember that specific thing. I just naturally
It's
thought.
because you weren't there. I was talking about you.
Oh,
He was. I thought it was very funny. But yeah, you're right. It was Justin.
I love that I guessed that without actually even hearing it. Ever.
Means you don't listen to our episodes, Randy.
Oh, has that ever been an illusion that I listen to what we produce? That is not the case.
I'll never understand that. But that is, you were at least consistent. Yeah, you will not listen to the show.
I've listened to a few episodes, but man, are they sparse. Few and far between.
I used to be that way till we got on Spotify. Now I'm on online.
Oh,
now it's just so easy.
Now you got your adult shirt on, and you got your button ups, and you got your tie.
I guess.
Next up, who said 29 going on 69?
Juice has 100,000%.
It's gotta be me. Damn, when I was a young man, I was 29.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You're both wrong. It was me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bobby, I didn't know you had wit.
I don't.
trying to fool us.
I don't. Next up, who said we're naming our first child Door?
Door? I'm going to say myself.
I'll say Old Bish just because we haven't had Old Bish in a while.
That's a good point. I'm going to say myself, though.
It's Randy. Yeah.
Hey!
We're naming our first. I don't remember that. At
We were
all.
talking about The Warm Side of the Door, the song from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And Becky was in the middle of complaining about how you wouldn't stop singing that song in bed. And you're like, yeah, so we're naming our first child Door. That shit's fucking great.
That's pretty good.
That's still true.
Yeah, we're naming our first child Door.
Warm side of the door.
Next up, who said there's a dong introduced? It can take away the half star.
I think
I said that.
Are you sure?
Well, no, not 100%.
I don't want to you say you, I'm going to say me, because I feel like I definitely brought that up because I always question your Yabos rule.
He does often bring it up, yeah.
Yeah, I think I said that to clarify the rules.
Yeah, it was Justin. Justin said it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
I'm pretty sure somebody was like, but there's Yabos. They're trying to tell me how to rate my movie. Don't tell me. There's a dong. I've got a man's got a code.
Don't get too self-righteous, man. It's not that important.
I streamed this shit from Amazon for $2.99. I have a right.
Next up, who said the bitch is back?
Rob.
Cesar. I'm saying Cesar on that one.
Yeah, it was me. That was me.
It was Rob.
What did you say that about?
The only episode I ever missed, we were about to record and I got called into work, and Randy, you hosted the show, so the show immediately following.
So it was terrible. It was terrible. Was that the Life episode?
Life, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I came back the next show and said the bitch is back, and did not realize that I was quoting Casper, but Justin realized it for me.
Bitch is back.
Yeah. I was totally quoting Casper.
Man, I hope I hope you had that realization multiple times in life.
I'm sure I will. I am sure.
Here's my toast for my daughter's wedding. Oh, it's a quote from Casper. Shit.
Nah, it's straight up from Casper.
Oh, fuck.
Next up, who said, what do you call them, Max? Big fat titties?
Saying myself on that shit.
Yeah, I'm going to Randy on that one.
Yeah, it's Randy. It's 100% Randy. Dude, that Hocus Pocus episode we did is really funny.
Is it?
Obviously, I'm biased or whatever because my dumbass is on it.
When Halloween comes back around, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We had a good time.
I don't listen back to my shit at all, so.
Big fat.
What do you call them, Max?
Titties? Next up, who said... Please,
milking titties.
Who said? Who said? Please stop. You're giving me wood.
I think that's Rob. I think that's Bob. That's Bob.
I'm gonna say Old Bish.
It was the old bish.
Oh.
Shit.
Man with wood. Cesar.
And owns wood.
He does.
God bless him.
Who said, my boy, Bobby Bibbs, whoa ho, 69 in.
Okay, do we need a guess? Do we need a guess?
Come on, Rob.
This is juice stains. This is juice stains 110%.
So, both guessing juice.
It's me.
Oh, you're gonna fucking swerve us.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
Bob or something.
It was me making
Bob
fun
trying
of
to rip my
Justin. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Unreasonable, untenable, and unfair.
Whatevs. Next up, who said this guy really takes the Cooter cake?
I think I definitely said that.
I said it. And Rob lost his shit when I said Cooter cake.
Okay, if you're that confident, I'm gonna go with you also then.
I'm pretty sure.
That is correct. Yeah,
right.
Justin said it, and I lost my shit. That is.
Yeah.
that is-
It's like Cooter cake.
You guys ever been to a zoo? Because it sounds like Rob.
I got a weird laugh. I don't know.
We're here to make you feel bad about yourself. That's what friends do.
Hey, that's chill. That's chill. Next up, who said, I think he's got something in his anus, and I'm going to need you to get right up in there.
That sounds like Randy.
I honestly have no idea. I think he has something in his anus. Well, say it again.
I think he has something in his anus, and I'm going to need you to get right up in there.
I don't know. I guess myself out of no reason. I have no reason.
Yeah, it's Randy. 100% Randy.
When did I say that? What episode?
I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but Mikey was on it, and you were referring to me digging around in Mikey's asshole. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if it's vulgar,
So probably a Serbian film.
It's highly possible, yeah.
that is at least a 40% chance.
Next, who said in Korea they're elegantly referred to as hookers?
Oh my God.
The tea's ready.
Cesar. Sure.
No, I said it.
Yeah, it's our boy who's living in South Korea.
Of course.
Soju. So,
I'm going for the unpopular
for the
vote.
fences.
I'm going for the unpopular vote. Everything.
I like it. Next, who said that party has a whole eyes wide shut vibe going on?
Ooh, that to me
Sounds like Randy.
that's either me or Juice. I can't tell, but I'm gonna say Juice for comparison,
think
for
it's
contrast.
Randy.
It was me.
Oh, fucked up.
You wrong, dog.
No, ya boo.
Hashtag know you boo.
I don't know they boo.
I was also talking about Hocus Pocus again. Next, who said the real victim was the Bluebell ice cream left out on the counter?
I said that.
110,000% it's boo stains.
I said that. That was fucking God. What? That was the knocking on the door.
It's from The Strangers. The Strangers.
Strangers.
episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Strangers, yeah.
The old bitch
Knocking
said
on
it.
The
What?
old
Really?
bitch said it.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit!
You immediately
Cesar.
concurred, but he said it
Okay.
first. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, Cesar, congrats on your love for Bluebell. We love that you love it.
Bluebell.
Yeah. Next, who said doing the old coot scoot boogie?
I said it.
That sounds like a do stains. I think we've all said it at one time or another, though.
Yeah.
The coot scoot
The
boogie.
Coot Scoot Boogie.
Yeah.
I think
feel
it
like-
originated maybe on Slack.
I actually might. I think that it's possible that I originated that, so I'm going to say myself.
Okay.
I guess I can't confirm who originated it. I always thought Justin did, and I definitely pulled it from Justin.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't know. I thought that was the first time we
I
said
don't know.
it, but maybe
for
it
all I
wasn't.
know,
Boogie.
for all I know, you may be right, but I mean, in my mind, it could anything that it might have been off camera, sort of thing. You know, like who knows?
Could have been. Yeah. We talk. We chat. We
talk.
We
We
chat.
actually talk. We actually talk outside the podcast, guys.
We do.
We talk about other things like fucking like weather and shit.
No, we don't.
Next, who said?
That's true.
Who said? I think you said rectum sanctum, but I'm not sure.
Bob. I think Bob said that about Randy.
I think I said that about somebody.
I thought Bob said about Randy, but maybe Randy said about Bob. I don't know. It's not me.
It's me. I think I said that.
I said it about Randy. Randy turned into a robot, and whatever I heard,
you said
sounded like rectum sanctum.
Well, no wonder I didn't know, because I was still talking on the other.
Yeah.
The rectum sanctum.
Last but not least,
You have to protect the rectum sanctum.
you gotta. Last one I got here. Who said Chatty Cathy from HR, who has a butt stink?
That was me.
Randy.
That was me.
That's 100% Randy. Yeah.
That was 10,000% me.
Yeah. That is absolutely
She's
correct.
got a butt stink. Look, she's got a butt stink.
She's got one. She's got one. So, the last clip that I'm going to play here is a little bit longer than the previous three. As I've mentioned before, I've gone back through our last 100 episodes, and I've kind of like cut out little clips and highlights from each one of the shows and stitched them together to form a bit of a highlight reel, as I did from episode 100. If you listen to that show, it's pretty much the same thing. This one's a little bit longer. Overall, the clip's about 30 minutes long, but each individual slice from I guess it kind of depends. It probably varies from like 5 seconds to maybe a minute. But I went through the last 100 shows and try to cut out some memorable moments and stitch them together. And that's what you're going to hear right here, right now.
If you happen to hear us again, it's because you have wasted 30 minutes.
Honestly, it's, I don't know. I'm biased, so duh. I think it's funny. It's whatever. I think it's worth listening to. I think if this is your first show, maybe don't listen to it, because a lot of the jokes you're not going to get.
His own opinions.
Yeah.
He is arguing with me about the value of our conversations. So
Yep.
I am that valuable, and you should hire me.
So yeah, without further ado, here it comes. The clip reel. The clip reel. Here we go. I don't know what to call you now.
Puzzled Rob.
I know, because he was our ice cream aficionado, but we have since retired Screaming and Creaming
in recovery
until everybody rises up and it's back to popular
they demand it returns.
Everyone.
Our music mentor, Juice.
Whoa.
Yes.
If I could turn back time, believe I could find it.
Really dodged a bullet this week. If I could turn back now.
You owe someone a t-shirt somewhere.
Well, yeah, it's in the works. It's very slowly and quietly in the works.
You need to apologize to Shaggy Black right now.
Shaggy, you have my deepest regrets. I am at your mercy, and do with me what you will.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing.
I'm gonna forget every
Oh, the
time.
mic got you reeling.
So I'm just going to say it. I like Limp Bizkit, not unironically or anything like that. Just
We do too.
We grew up on Limp Bizkit.
full fan Durst. Instead of going, yeah, he goes, I agree.
I got massacred, and all I got was this ripped up fucking t-shirt with grime on it.
But it was tied in a perfect knot above your navel the whole time.
Yeah, and my tits were looking great.
And constantly sopping wet.
Real good tits in this shirt.
And it was reasons for admissions for women to psychiatric care, 1864 to 1889. I knew Bex would appreciate this the most.
Some of the entries are gathering in the head.
Oh, no.
We have masturbation for 30 years.
Not 29.
Whatever that means. Bad whiskey. Bloody flux.
Tobacco and masturbation.
Don't forget about
we had
dropsy.
2 theories
Religious
about that.
enthusiasm.
What'd you say, Beth?
I said we had 2 theories about the tobacco and masturbation section.
Rob's got to post this to the Instagram for
I will.
tomorrow. Some of them make a little more sense, like kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah, traumatic brain injuries are a thing.
Okay, sure.
You might be dead though.
Novel reading could get you locked away.
Any kind of reading is cause for concern when it comes to the ladies.
It says exposure and quackery. What the fuck?
I love Dropsy. For some reason, I want to name my son Dropsy.
Dropsy Gaddis.
Vicious vices. The war.
Just the war.
The war.
The war. The war will do it. It'll do it.
She's got the war in her.
Oh my God.
Fighting fire is also.
Look, if your house is burning down and you're a lady, you better just fucking
You
book
better
it.
call a man.
You better call a
Real
man
quick.
or burn alive. Those are your options.
I really want to write a short story for each of these and like feature them.
You should. I thought
On
about
the
this would make a great
website.
There's a lot of.
this would make a great
Shooting of daughter.
anthology film.
Well, there's a couple that I think can be linked together here. There is The War. There is Fell from a Horse in War, and then me kicked in the head by a horse. So I think that's actually just one
got
woman.
it
They just decided to kind of
Is this
split
what
it
the
up.
movie War Horse is about?
Rumor of husband murder. Just the rumor. Just the rumor.
Randy.
Oh man!
Suppression.
Gunshot wound. You're crazy. Ever since you got shot, you've been acting all kinds of crazy.
One of the remedies in the 19th century for erectile dysfunction is this little thing called radium suppositories, which is exactly what it sounds like.
no.
So yeah, they
Radioactive?
yeah.
Oh no.
They would ram it up your ass, and apparently that was promised to restore your sexual power. Welcome back, Cesar.
It is an honor.
Welcome back forever.
Permanent.
He just points at me.
Yeah. Meet your replacement, Drew.
No.
This whole mess here is permanent.
Congratulations
to all of you here at Straight Chilling for nabbing this guy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thanks.
Scooped him up.
Got him on the waiver wire. You know.
I want to thank Mom and Jesus.
I'm gonna let you finish, man.
All right. Next week, my
Yes.
last local pick.
Before you move halfway around the world.
Yes, but I will continue to pick from there.
So option number one, provided by Shaggy Black. Gray Bush the Wise. Pretty good. I've heard worse. I have said worse.
All right.
Got you a real silver mane down there.
I just want.
Then yes, it was quite dope.
All right. I
As
thought
if it
you'd
were
like
a tentacle.
I love. Oh,
Yeah, the old tentacle penis.
that was so good. It's tentacle penis. But
Tits a dick.
New band name.
awesome.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Tammy.
Thanks for being here.
I don't have like a super fun name like you guys, but I sell candy for a living.
Are you trying to tell me that Tammy's not a fun name?
True.
Purveyor of sweets.
There you go.
Tammy.
There you go. Fucking
You're like-
Willy Wonka up in here.
Number 115, and we're going to be talking about The Mummy, the Tom Cruise version. It sounds
The good one.
it sounds so much better coming out of your mouths.
That's legit spit tip.
You're the-
because of my own Tom Cruise.
You're the
done.
king of spit takes.
I have them.
You're pretty good at
frequently.
them. You spit Coke on my face once.
Ew.
I did. I think you were okay with it.
It was it was so funny that I just drank it. I just drank it.
It is Corey Feldman and 3 to 5 buxom young ladies playing instruments and wearing angel costumes.
I used the word playing lightly. I don't know that they
Well,
were really
I mean,
playing
holding.
anything.
I taught them what a s'more was. We were talking about camp and what Americans eat at camp. They were blown away that you could put so many sugary things together and survive.
I mean,
You can't really.
Darren, thank you for supporting the show. Everything you do helps us get through the day. You're feeding the nubile Caesar boy his Lunchables as we speak with your financial contribution.
I flew a celeb in tonight to tell us exactly what Stranger Things Season 2 is all about.
This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
You're fired, Bob.
There it goes.
What did you say?
I feel like my voice sounds fucking stupid.
Why do you say
I
that?
don't know. I'm not used to hearing myself like this, and I'm like, man.
It's cool. We all sound stupid.
A skeleton crew.
Tonight is going to be our annual Halloween extravaganza, motherfucker. Oh! Welcome. It's our second annual Halloween extravaganza, so we're going to do our first ever double feature.
Because we talk about this motherfucker all the time, and he needs to get his just due. Can we go ahead and sell out to all the advertisers and start
well, Lord
putting money
knows
in
they're
my
beating
pocket?
down our beating down our doors.
They're beating the shit out of our boars.
Our boars are dead. Hey, I'm drunk.
Welcome to the party.
Just wanted to get that right out in the open. There's no two ways about that.
Okay.
After our annual Halloween party, I legit am bummed. It takes me a couple days to come back from
We
it.
stayed up till 4 a.m. just because you didn't want
Just to keep it
because I was
going.
drinking.
Yeah, I drank too much, for sure.
We've just fogged the shit out of a house with both our girlfriends asleep in our respective beds.
Just two men sitting in a pool of fog, listening to music, drinking.
It was.
You remind me of Bill Dauterive when he tries to keep Christmas going all year long.
I forgot about that. Morning zoo. All right.
I was too busy blocking out the haters.
All right, sorry.
How about Chatty Cathy?
Chatty Cathy from HR who has a butt stink.
What?
I don't know. She just has a stink.
Next up, Helen.
Helen?
Yeah, isn't that the...
Who's Helen?
From HR? Was that...
Oh,
Karen.
no.
Karen,
No,
sorry.
no.
Karen.
It was
Karen.
God.
Karen, Carol.
Karen? I thought it was Kathy.
Kathy. You're from
Kathy.
HR.
This is terrible. Why are we doing this? This is gross.
Cesar. What's up,
Linda.
buddy?
Hey, man.
There's no
Please
interview for
stop.
such
You're
things.
giving me wood.
Oh, God.
Next up, the man with wood, Cesar.
Hey, is that the new one?
Why not?
Why not?
Deborah from HR.
No.
Who is also fully erect.
You know, it's sad.
Cesar.
When they looked up my account and I just happened to look at the computer monitor, in parentheses, it said Old Bish.
Yo, bitch.
Well, we have a new intro name for you.
The old bitch.
Cesar, old bish.
I'm happy with it.
Which is appropriate given your age.
It is.
And your bishiness.
I'm quite a bish.
Cesar, first up, the old bish.
Yes, sir.
This is your pick.
It is my pick.
I think it's oddly fitting that we review The Blob.
Because I'm pink and gelatinous.
This man has the nickname Bones. We are a goddamn horror podcast with a man whose nickname is Bones, and we call him Kathy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Straight Chilling. My name's not Bob, and I will be your host for this evening, whether you like it or not, motherfuckers. Woo! The inmates are running the asylum.
Fucking Lord of the Flies up in this.
Bob's back in town. The bitch is back.
Were you quoting Casper at the beginning of this cast? The bitch is back. I believe that's when Kerrigan dies back as a ghost.
That's the quote you go with on your fucking return?
I guess Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Kiss my ass, kiss his ass, kiss your ass. Welcome to Straight Chillin'.
Hold side of the door. Boo!
On the wall side of the door.
Whoa. Oh my God.
Whoa. Tell me that isn't great, Becky.
Can we just do the whole episode on that song?
I just need to acknowledge that he really, really leaned into that.
It's all wet people who like you.
He threw W's. Were they-
On the wall side of the
Get it, Randy. Get it, Bob.
He sang this all night in bed.
Like 2 nights ago, I was like, shut the fuck up. Try to go to sleep.
Congratulations.
That side of the door was certainly warm.
We're naming our first child Door.
You heard.
There's always people who love you. They want to kiss you and hug you. And it's always Christmas on the wrong side of the door. There's people who love you. They're gonna kiss you and hug you. It's always Christmas on the warm side of the door. Yeah. I got mold on my lips, motherfucker. But prominently featured in this film was a gallon of Bluebell ice cream.
The real victim of this movie.
Wasted. It was wasted.
We didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, it was wasted.
That was the biggest tragedy of this film.
We said that. I said the exact same thing. Like, the real victim was the Bluebell ice cream left on the counter. And
That's
I'm like,
a quality cream.
This is why Justin was like,
pour one out for the cream.
Ice cream is the core of what we do, really. It's an ice cream core.
He said he went back and rewatched The Strangers and now was watching it from the perspective of the Bluebell.
That makes my heart weep with joy.
So much love to you, Anthony, man.
We're going to be reviewing another beautiful Patreon pick. This one was chosen by Mr. Chris. Thank you, Chris. We are your slaves for this evening. We're going to be talking about A Dark Song.
What up? It's your boy Soju Stains out here in SoCo doing the old coot scoot boogie. You know how we do.
A coot scoot boogie.
A minute into the movie, when me and Rob were watching it, a guy spilled his beer all over himself.
Oh, no.
God damn it.
Like, we're going to talk about probably stuff that you couldn't have possibly conceived of. Just keep that in mind.
Well, I don't know.
You're an anomaly.
She jerks him off and he shoots his rope knots on her face.
You can only get up to half a star for the breast. And then we've also introduced...
So that's your justification?
But hang on, if there's a dong introduced, it can take away the half star as well. So.
How are you the only married person on this podcast?
I respect any movie who hangs dong.
I'm headed to Japan.
Oh, shit.
Japan,
mang.
What is that dialect you're using?
Going to Japan, man. Like, holy shit. So this dude definitely takes the cooter cake this week. Oh my God. He's high.
The Shimmer. So we're running a little...
So glad this movie isn't called The Shimmer.
That'd be terrible. Doesn't that sound like a alt rock song from the mid 90s or something? The Shimmer.
Like it is. It's a fuel song.
Holy
Shimmer.
Shit.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
Connecting dots.
It does because it is.
Oh no.
What'd you do?
Randy watched the wrong movie.
I watched Demon Knight.
Did you really?
Demon Knight.
Oh no! I watched the other Tales from the Crypt movie.
G'day, straight chillin' boys. Thank you very much for having me. I just didn't get who Dennis Miller was. He's okay. He's funny. I don't think he's as funny as what you guys think he is. I'm not aware of who.
I don't
he
think.
is.
I think your young man there. What's his name? Jim, Jeff, Jordy, something. You tell
Mikey?
me it. Mikey, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
I think he's got something in his anus, and I'm gonna need you to crawl right up in there. Just go plowing right through and look around a little bit.
And actually, you're getting the cultures wrong. Geisha is Japanese, whereas in South Korea, they're elegantly referred to as hookers.
Resident. Wait, no. You're not resident anymore because you live in Washington, D.C. Somebody fire me.
Tell him my address, why don't you? I'm about to get doxxed in this motherfucker.
The trailer's funny because it's like,
My favorite Kincaid moment is when he just straight up calls Freddy Krueger a pussy.
Several times. Save it for the cats.
No, there's no secret. I have a fucking problem.
People are so ridiculously all about these sort of like Serial the podcast and Murder the documentary and killing people. That's what's cool now. And murder conspiracies. Isn't there a reality show about this somewhere?
This is a Halloween movie. There's 20 minutes of Halloween in this Halloween movie.
Yeah.
They randomly go up and out of that basement legit like 7 times within a 5-minute window.
Hello, surprise guest here, Tammy.
Tammy!
Was anybody else like, what the fuck, when Michael Myers is just able to push his hands through those 2 tiny glass windows in her door? Her house is completely barred in like a prison. Like, Rob needs his aggregate. You can't change your shit.
Thank you, Tam. You know. You fucking know.
You're welcome, boo.
One of the things that I hated about that awesome, amazing scene is the Bash Brothers laying on the ground saying, like, the girls were trying to feed me guacamole all sexy. Like, I was like, oh my God, take this shitty comedy out of this movie. Just kill this fucker. Are they actually podcasters and they're not legit?
Justin, I'm going to talk now. We're going to be talking about Tremors, the original Tremors.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I can't believe we've never talked about this movie.
That's it. That's my shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Popping in there.
I love it.
If you need somebody, David's ready, coach. Put him in. I fucking love Tremors. That's my shit. Me and my sister.
Oh, Dave.
Mushy mushy.
Patreon's important. Sign up for our Patreon. Am I coming in okay?
I think you are, Randy Gandy.
I'm sitting here at the table of Mr. Bob, drinking something I have not drank since November of 2016. It's something I call Election Night Blackout Spesh.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, it's Sailor Jerry and Coca-Cola.
Swirly Jerly.
Easy on the Coca-Cola.
What up? It's your boy, Soft Serve Soju. How's it going, boys?
Well, that's...
Why so soft?
Oh.
Still going through our 31 days of Halloween. So every day watching a new horror flick to get ready for the season.
Doing some very sensual dancing on the broomstick. And, you know...
I mean, the whole movie, she's got her yabos out, you know?
She's like the token... sex pot of the 3, I guess, who steals Winnie's boyfriend and then tries to fuck a bus driver.
She's always talking about like playing
and
with
Satan.
boys.
And Satan. What?
Let's play with them.
Play with him. Yeah, which is
damn girl, chill out. It's a kids movie.
Never seen a pair of yabos, hey, Randy?
Okay, let's discuss yabos for a second. Please.
Yeah,
raise your hand
I thought
audibly.
you were gonna get into it.
I mean, we can. If this movie invented the term yabos, I want to know the writing process behind the word yabos. Like, why did that? Was there like, well, we can't say breasts, we can't say any established words for titties, we can't use
breasts.
that.
Yeah, they
Like,
had
what do you
to
call
come
them,
up
Max?
with something.
Big fat titties.
Just straight up like, my brother likes your tits.
Yeah, I will say though,
In fact,
that scene
he
is
loves them.
fabulous. If only that is the best performance Max gives in the whole movie. Is his reaction to her saying that, which is the most pallid, wide-eyed panic face in the fucking movie.
That party that her parents are throwing, where they walk in, it's like got a whole eyes wide shut vibe going on.
Yeah,
they're all wearing their
I think you're
goofy
projecting
masks.
that.
Maybe. Tonight we're going to be reviewing one of the scariest, most notorious horror movies I have ever seen in my life, Jurassic Park.
Let's not go picking favorites.
I mean, this
it's
done. It's been recorded. It's there.
An existing friend turned patron.
True.
Yeah, I won't go through all of them because it's literally been every night. Randy.
I know.
Fucking Randy.
Randy's drinking.
Rattling Randy.
I fucking told you guys.
Great British Bake Off on Netflix.
Oh,
nice.
Horrifying.
It's very much so.
Truly horrific.
It can be at some point. Yeah.
Soggy bottoms.
We are hosting our first live event ever here in Jacksonville, Florida at the lovely Sunray Cinemas on October 10th at 7 o'clock. We're going to be hosting a screening of Return of the Living Dead, and we're going to do a little bit of a live show after the movie.
But Jeremiah himself is the most cooter I've ever seen, off the scales. He hits even more, like, dude, even the attire, like, dude struts around in this crazy robe, dong swinging. I mean, like,
he's got an Obi-Wan Kenobi robe.
If anyone ever has a question, what is a cooter? Watch this film.
I have a proposition.
Yeah,
I have a proposition that from now on, the units of measurement for cooters be referred to as Jeremiah's. Does the motion pass?
I don't want to derail us too hard, but the Slack channel has dubbed you, what is it?
Cooter stains?
Cooter stains. That's also appropriate.
That is appropriate. They've decided that your Shyamalan-esque twist is going to be that you are the king of cooters. You've been the head vampire the whole time.
Was it? Doug was kind of acting like a douche this morning, and out of nowhere, just the first thing that popped into my mind was Cooter stains. So
nice.
I was just calling him Cooter stains all morning.
Bam.
It just seemed to rile him up even more, though. Honestly,
tonight's going to be our annual Halloween extravaganza.
G'day everyone, I'm doing really well, and originally I thought I was replacing Randy, but I'm stoked that you made it, mate.
You're replacing him in our hearts, but not on the show.
Welcome to the Rectum Sanctum. Sorry, the relation really bad.
The Rectum Sanctum? You turn into a robot, Randy.
Yeah, we only got like half your syllables, and then it sounded hilarious.
I think you said rectum sanctum, but I'm not sure.
It's probably better than my actual performance on that line.
Larry will know if you want. We can do another live podcast and talk about all the upcoming events.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. And to all you listeners, go see Death House out there. Support us.
Randy, have you been watching other things since an hour ago?
I mean, I watched my wiener take a piss since I last talked to you about what I've been watching.
Why don't you rate and review that real quick?
1 star.
It's interesting to me that that's a 2. Like, it doesn't have the vehemence of a 2 to me.
Yeah, I mean, when I left the theater at like 1:30 in the morning, I was like, "Fuck this movie." I've had a few days to cool off, and I've gotten some sleep. I feel a little bit more calm now, but at the time of me leaving that theater, I was like, "That is a fucking dumpster fire bullshit movie for sure." That's how I felt. Yeah.
Just tweet at me, and I will be more than happy to talk nerdy horror shit with you.
Yeah, talk nerdy to me. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God.
You know, music stings, and layered in it, it would just be somebody saying, "Witch."
Fellatio stands over here.
I know. I was doing extra teeth over here, and Bob caught me off guard. I thought he usually goes Randy first.
Yeah.
29 going on 69. What?
Up top.
There is no in between.
Up top.
Soju stains.
What up? It's your boy Typhoon Stains today, getting the day off.
Did we sell it? Did we sell the laugh?
I haven't talked to you guys in a whole week.
Oh man, that's the first time we've heard that joke. It's the first time.
It's funny.
I haven't heard that before because we're all fucked up.
We're going to be reviewing another Patreon pick by the one, the only, fucking Hydraberg.
Hail Hydraberg.
Hail Hydraberg. Well, the main cold dude's kind of cootery.
Can you fill me in on what a cooter is? Like, basically the vagina of the film? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, no. My wife.
What the fuck?
Sorry.
Rob's got jokes.
Sorry, guys.
Man,
Rob Bibbs over here.
Oh my God.
Tapping right into that 2000 humor.
My boy Bobby Bibbs. Whoa, 69.
Punkums.
Ouija board.
Punkums, which is yet another glorious Patreon pick from our patron, Jess. Thank you, Jess.
I think Randy is B.
Yes.
But your face is frozen.
Too much soju. You flushed the toilet. I can't deal with it. Let's get into the Rotten Tomatoes.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
This is our first Patreon pick in a hot minute, and it's brought to you by the lovely son of a gun, Thomas.
But as far as pranks go, I remember that we used to drive around doing something called pudding pantying people.
Yes, sir.
Justin, it's the summer of George.
Start us off. What you been watching, man?
Yeah, so oh god, what is the name of this movie? It's in Korean on my wall. The Shape of Water.
I love that on your Thanksgiving you chose to be thankful for hating Halloween.
Hey, that was a special request from Bob. My boy Richard Bibbs is swinging back into town.
Dick Bibbs.
Dickie Bibbers.
Seems like we were just watching his old crusty ass
Ricky Dicky Bibby
thing.
Tonight we're going to be discussing Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, as was chosen by the lovely Patreon, Mr. Jose S. Thank you, sir.
It also could just be my deep, soul, that I bring to the cast.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably that.
Yeah, it's probably has something to do with how soulful and deep you are. Tell me again about that Yabos rule of yours.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Jacob's Ladder, which was chosen by one of our glorious Patreons, Matthew. Thanks, Matthew.
What up? It's your boy, Soul Juice Stains.
What up, nerds? Welcome to the last episode of the year. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for this evening. Straight Chilling's the name of the game. Talking horrors are our fucking claim to fame or whatever.
Dong swinging, baby.
Yeah, dog swinging. That's right. It's fucking... I don't know. I find that immensely enjoyable, and
I don't even think I took away a negative. I don't even think I negative like a half star for that dong swinging.
No, you shouldn't, because that's a positive dong.
Yeah.
It is covered in blood, which is a little off-putting. So.
It's a turd wrapped in a shit, encapsulated in diarrhea, frozen at flash frozen temperatures. It's a dog shit. Eat it at your own risk.
You can vote between
Spooky love.
Spooky love.
Woo.
You can vote between My Bloody Valentine, Audition, and probably the scariest movie that's ever been made, Ghost.
Starring the Scream Queen herself, Whoopi fucking Goldberg.
So we're going to try our hand at some streaming. If you guys want to check in, I think I'm going to kick us off with a game called Little Nightmares.
Tonight we're going to be talking about the Poughkeepsie tapes, chosen by our lovely patron, Jose M.
He's out there doing hookers and banging blow, you know? You know what I'm saying?
He's here to talk about his new movie, Cry for the Bad Man. Sam, how you doing today?
Quite well, quite refreshed.
Glad to hear it, man. We're going to be talking about the Poughkeepsie tapes, chosen by our lovely patron, Jose M. We're going to be back next week with a brand new review. We're going to be talking about our first new movie of 2019, the M. Night Shyamalan smash hit, Glass.
Oh, talk about a director I fucking hate.
Bob is like, I feel bad for Bob. I feel bad for
Feel bad
Bob
for future
because
Bob?
I know the way he talks about it and everything. He already put it in his top 10 of 2019. Like he's not going in with the right mentality. He's setting himself up for failure.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the man.
Like you're kind of starting to make a point, but then you flush that down the toilet too. Nothing matters. Not a single thing in this fucking movie matters at all. It's bad. It's a bad movie. We're talking Martyrs tonight, by the way, and it must be noted, this was a Patreon pick. It was not chosen by one of us. It was chosen by supporter Stephen King. Baja Blast Extreme.
Our ball blast file.
This is the Baja Blast file. That's
So now that you've heard the worst and also the worst of the past 100 episodes. You know us a little bit more intimately. I am highly distracted from the visuals I'm seeing on YouTube. There's a lot of self-stroking going on.
Oh, so much stroking.
Yeah. So I figure, goddamn, I'm being distracted. So I figure it's easier to like take it 100 episodes at a time to do this. So, you know, every 100 episodes, we're probably going to do some sort of retrospective, and I'll go back and cut bits out of each show and stitch them together as such. I think of the 30 minutes that you just listened to, I really need to highlight Randy's vocal skills. As he's got the pipes, like among the three of us, he's got the pipes. And when he sings The Warm Side of the Door, it really sets me straight. That's what I need.
That bothers me on a visceral level. Why are you listening to me? Stop it.
Not just me, but everyone. You sang it. You sang it on the show. You sang it on the show, man.
Oh my God. I've made so many mistakes.
No, you haven't.
All right.
It's fucking great.
Let's give some shouts outs.
Yep. It's time.
All right. So we would like to thank everyone who has stuck by us 200 episodes in. It's blowing our minds as much as it's blowing yours. We never thought
definitely blowing ours more than yours. I want to point that out right away.
So we really appreciate everyone who stuck by us, and we just like to go ahead and give some shouts outs to some people. So I'll kick us off. First, shouts outs to the OG Straight Chilling crew. We've been doing this for 4.5 years now, 200 episodes in, and we've had a lot of people come and go. But it all started with Jack, Ross, Drew, of course, Brad joined us shortly after, and of course, the old Bish Cesar for a good chunk of time. So we want to just say thank you to everyone who has participated with us, who put in time and effort into this podcast, and you are not forgotten, sirs. We really appreciate everything you've done for the cast.
And
we love you guys.
Specifically, I'd like to add, like, Jack, this show would not exist without Jack.
Jack is 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 100% the Prometheus of this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I have been put in charge of doing the patrons as well, which I apologize because I'm really bad with the names. So we're going to kick off. Thank you again so much for the patrons who you have financially supported us, which is amazing. Thank you so much.
Shocking.
We really, but it also has certainly really helped. We didn't think about it beforehand, but now we are able to do a lot of things because of your support. So first up, old Bex. Thank you, Bex, Becky, for supporting us.
Who's that?
Brendan. Is that correct? Brendan?
Yeah.
Chad, Chris, Darmick.
Yeah.
Darmick.
David, Evan, Hydraberg, Jose S., Jose M., Cassie, Marina, Matt, Priscilla, Steven, and Thomas. Whew.
I hope it's worth listening to like 8 hours of us bullshit so that you can hear your name.
Yeah, your name. Shouts out.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Also, Mikey wasn't on there, and actually Matthew as well.
Yeah,
wow, that's true.
I did include them in the next segment. So I tried to not double up too much, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Mikey
I'm just
and Matthew
trying to make sure
both would be patrons.
My responsibility was the patrons, so I want to make sure that anybody who has financially supported us, thank you so much. Shouts out. We really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
God bless.
Thank you guys.
We love you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for supporting the show for sure. It's added more than we ever anticipated. That's for sure. Next up, we've got just general friends of the show that we'd like to thank, some of which we've already mentioned, some we have not. First up, Nicole from Chiaroscuro podcast. Definitely check her out. Big thanks to Shane at Movie Analyst. Thanks to Fangoria's Nightmare Librarian, Alyssa. Big thanks to Anthony from Something Ghoulish. Thanks to Michael from Horror Apocalypse. Thanks to Botter and the whole Shortbox crew. Thanks to Tammy from Tam and Fam podcast.
Tam and Fam.
Tam and Fam. Thanks to Rob G from Dread Central Presents. Thanks to Matthew from Bold City Longsword. Thanks to Tim from Sunray Cinema. Thanks to Sam and Karina Farmer. Thanks to Durden Godfrey, Mr. Royal, and Jared Rush. Shouts outs to Mikey, hashtag Tiny Pork Sword himself. Big thanks to Susan Acosta from Jacksonville Horror Fans. Thanks to Corey for being just generally like a good sport at the live show. We met that man while being recorded live.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, he was a good sport, and I've actually ran into him just randomly throughout the city since, and he's a very cool guy. Shouts outs to Laz Lowe. Shouts outs to Ryan Thompson from GAM. Tyler Kelly. Shouts outs to Eric and the whole BGH crew. And also shouts outs to Fashion Freak 87.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah,
Some people. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure that I forgot far too many people, and I need to like preemptively apologize. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, these are not necessarily people that directly interacted with us, but people that I think are worth noting, which are Ryan Hollinger and Dr. Udru on YouTube. They're big horror entities, people that are producing horror-related content on YouTube. Look them up. That's all. Something Ghoulish is obviously among those. We brought them up multiple times. Otherwise, I would bring them up in the same category. These are people that are like huge horror fans and who are bringing great visual essays and such things to us to sort of like get our heads around sort of the intricate details of some of the horror genres, products, so to speak. So,
yeah, you want to hit the Slack channel, Randy?
I can definitely do that. So the Slack channel, guys, we want to thank everybody who's on our Slack channel. Everybody who interacts with us is like gold to us because fucking. I can't believe that anybody even listens to us to this day. I'm still shocked by that. So that said, the Slack channel crew, Black Star Dahlia, Brad, Brandon, Chad, Darmic, Drew, Hydraberg, Jeff, Jennifer, Jesse, Jim, Villain Jose, Cassie, Hungry Mike, Nicole, Priscilla, Steven, Bachman, Thomas, and Tyler. All of you guys, thank you for interacting with us on the fucking Slack channel because, man, we could talk to ourselves forever. And it's so great that other people actually want to listen and talk to us at all. So, if anybody wants to join us on the Slack channel, please reach out to us. We want our friend group to grow. We want to infect this goddamn country and this goddamn world with our bullshit. Also, anybody who dropped an iTunes review for us, I mean, really, thank you, because the algorithms are such that it's feast or famine, and anything that you give to us, it comes back to us threefold. So thank you for giving us an iTunes review. Thank you for sharing our posts. That's unbelievable overstepping of your what's required of you. You've done well and beyond what is required of you. Thank you for supporting the show, spreading the name in any way whatsoever. We love you guys, and the fact that anybody wants to hear us say anything is the biggest shock in the world. So, I mean, if you're one of those people, please reach out to us in some way. Let us thank you and be a part of what we're doing, which isn't much, but it's something. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's we've been able to carve out our own little corner in like the the horror community over the past few years, and it's sort of like, it's one of those things like, yeah, you like watching spooky movies or whatever, and then the internet comes to, and you sort of get involved in it, and you're able to reach out to people that maybe you wouldn't be able to otherwise, and you find out that there's this very vast horror community, almost all of which are just like totally open and kind and willing to speak to you and help in any way they can. It's probably the exact opposite, I feel, what most people would expect from like a quote horror fan or like a horror kid. It's like, oh, they're into all this fucked up shit, they must be horrible people, but it's completely the opposite. Like the horror community,
even beyond that, like you mentioned something about the gatekeepers earlier, and I think that's a great way of saying it. Like there are no gatekeepers in horror, really. If you enjoy it, you can find people, and like using today's technology, and us being a prime example of that, who are absolutely excited to talk to you about these same things. So, thank you guys for engaging with us. And if you have any hesitation about engaging with us, don't, because we are open fucking books over here.
Yeah. That's kind of like, it became the point of the show. I think it's not what it was when we started, but that's absolutely like a huge facet of it now. It's just like building our own little corner of the horror community. It's become a huge joy for me, and I think for all of us. And we aim to continue building it and building new relationships and meeting new people and talking about stuff that we all enjoy. That's kind of, it's the best part of it, honestly. So yeah, that's pretty much it for episode 200. I think it was fairly successful. We did a ton of shit that we've never done before, and maybe we'll never do again. We'll find out. Only time will tell.
Longest episode in history.
Yeah, it's a long one.
How long is this shit? Like 8 hours?
Like 4 hours, man.
Oh shit. I'm sorry. I guess we should say we're sorry. Also,
it's like 3:20 right now. A little more.
But plus the clip, my guy.
Oh gracious! Yeah. Oh gracious! Yeah, it's a long one. So, anyways, that's gonna do it for us here at Straight Chilling. We're gonna be back next week with a proper episode. We're gonna be doing a regular horror movie review. This time it's going to be another Patreon pick that was chosen by Matt G. Matt provided us with 3 films that he would be more than happy for us to talk about, and he said pick one. So we did. Strangely enough, the 3 movies that were presented, none of us had seen any of them, so we literally rolled the die and we landed on They. So
They,
as presented by Wes Craven. We're going to be talking about They next week.
They!
No idea what it's about. We're going to find out.
It's going in blind.
Hey.
Yeah, going in blind.
Going in.
About pronouns, I assume.
Yeah. So until next week, as always, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at str8_chilling. We are on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. Hit us up on YouTube. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and we'll pop right up. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to join us on our Slack channel, just let me know via any one of those social media websites I just mentioned, and I'll send you a link so you can do so. And I think that's it. So until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.